Blessings falling down on me. It keeps bringing me joy. Each new blessing I receive, it keeps bringing me joy.
Yeah, okay. Blessing to coming in front of me. Coming in front. I'm in the cup with a bag on me. How you feel? Like I got my piece in this heavenly? Yes. We not the same. Keeping the fake up under me. You know. Yeah. I gotta go. I'm in the lead. Yeah. No checking the scope. Plain to see. You reap what you sow. You cannot face me. I gotta say this life is amazing. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time he say my life. Coming with that talk. Please don't kill my vibe. Shorty got that walk. She know what I like. Yeah. With the gang and it's so shy, yeah. Okay. I'm in the stew, I got the truth. Look at the pedigree. Okay. I never lose when I'm on the move. I'm leaning on the G. Okay. Dipped in the water, only the Father coming in clutch for me. Coming in clutch, coming in clutch, coming in. Yeah.
Blessings falling down on me. It keeps bringing me joy. Each new blessing I receive.
Yeah, you problems I avoid. Why would I give up my core? Belief in you gon' change my world. Make me feel like I'm the world to you, or maybe I'm not sure. Just make me your little vessel. I won't wrestle with you, Lord. I got all these blessings raining. I'm gon' need a new umbrella. We don't do that stressing, baby. Faith gon' work in any weather. Yes. Once I gave him all of me, I just hit the Hall of Fame. We take Jesus over shame. Got no limits, but he not damn. They say no, I'm still a saint. Yeah, I got a lot to prove. Fill my life with room. He hopped out that tomb. Yes, I couldn't help it, my confession. Tell him I'm about to bloom. He wrote me up from the womb. Blessings coming soon.
Blessings falling down on me. It keeps bringing me joy. Each new blessing I receive.
I don't have my...
Hey, look at me!
I can't see!
Look at me!
I can't see!
You scared?
Yes, I am scared!
You should be. You're getting pranked right now.
Son of a...
Like, share, and subscribe.
Number between 1 and 10.
Let's say 7.
7? Well, it's your lucky day. You just won brand new AirPod Pros.
Wow, you're kidding me. Really?
Yeah.
Free?
Yeah.
Why?
You won. Nothing, you won.
How come?
You win. Have a good one. Have a good one.
Thank you.
People that you have in your life are either going to tax you or they're going to be a dividend. If everybody in your life is taxing you, that's why you're tired. All of your friends are taxing you. You don't want to answer the phone. You don't want to respond to the text message. You don't want to take them out because they are trust taxed. And you have to make sure you're around people that multiply. And you want them to be a dividend that when y'all get together, collaboration is easy. Decision making is easy. You're able to accomplish things. You're able to tackle things.
So nephew, let me tell you about my crew. Dogs? I mean, some of them is dogs. Some of them is pigs and cats and stuff like that.
Chicken, lamb, peacocks.
Bears and horses and things and stuff like that. But my best friend is a cat named Geo. He's a gorilla. We call him Geo for gorilla.
So, okay. So that's where we come from.
What are you talking about?
You know, the gorillas, the monkeys.
You don't come from no gorilla. Who told you that?
It's in my school books.
Man, no. Man, I was there when Adam was made. And he was made out of dirt. God reached down there and he was like, he just took his fingernails. He just taking his fingernails getting dirty. And so, next thing you know, Adam was laying there. Woo! Man, you know what we call him?
What?
We call him Dirt. Because he's made out of dirt. Dirt! Dirty! That's my man's though.
Welcome to Eden.
So let us make man just like us, strong like us, wise like us. Let us make man beautiful like us, and let us make him immortal, just like us. And when they ask you, whose man's is this? Tell them, that's my creation, and his name is Adam. Now, Adam, breathe. Look around. Look around. And welcome to Eden. Hey, come on. Come on, come on. Eden, the vibe is love. Everything God created defines as love. Yo, you here now, so woo! Turn it up. To the left. To the left now, y'all. To the left this time. Right foot to the left. Left foot to the left. To the left, real smooth. To the left. To the left. To the left now, y'all. To the left this time. Right foot to the left. Left foot to the left. To the left now, y'all.
That's 100. Yeah, hold that. They claim they want that soul back. Got nothing to hold back. Take you to the throwback. So that you know that we gon' take the toll back. There's a difference between being seasoned and acting like an old cat. Old heads know that. It all comes back around like trying to recapture the moment with a Kodak. The Polaroid is instant. Hoping you don't miss it. Cause most of us been different. I tell you what it isn't about. The amount in the bank account. I'm just trying to figure out if I can make it through without thinking out loud. Pay attention, cause he gives grace to the humble at the same time he humbles the proud. Wow, 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 yeah, wow. Come on, I just don't wanna become what I hate. Cause it ain't all about getting your pay up. Let's go. Cause only Christ came down to save us. You know he saved us. I said I just don't wanna become what I hate. Cause it ain't all about getting your way. Cause only Christ came down to save us. He saved us. He did something for me I could never do for myself. And because of that, every single day the movement is felt. I learned in life there's some things that are worse than losing your wealth, like losing your health or losing yourself. But we don't hear it though. We just wanna live this life to see the next scenario. Keep a view that's aerial until we meet our burial. Till then life will ebb and flow. I just want my very own plot of land. But I know my life's in the potter's hands, so I don't need an autograph from any single artisan. I don't need to worship man, cause I know that the heart is sin. Full beyond measure. Once I stopped chasing pleasure, then I felt less pressure from Odessa down to Mecca. See, he controls the weather and my effort keeps me fresher. But that ain't the measurement that I use for my own betterment. Cause righteousness is heaven sent, meaning that it's all by grace. So by in him, that is all I pray. Come on, I just don't wanna become what I hate. Cause it ain't all about getting your pay up. Let's go. Cause only Christ came down to save us. You know he saved us. I said I just don't wanna become what I hate. Cause it ain't all about getting your way. Cause only Tony.
If you got a little rhythm, move left to right. A new experience, baby, gon' hit your stride. Who walking? I'm walking. Who walking? I'm walking. Who walking? I'm walking. Is you walking? And when the grooves get good, go right to left. Shut up, y'all. We got grab the tread. Now who walking? I'm walking. Is you walking? I'm walking. Then stretch and walk it out like you know your plans you have for me. There's no evil. It's all good things. Lord, I love you. So I will trust you. Here I let my fear die. That's why I'm walking. And my eyes can get it right. They gon' be my guide. And I'll follow the trouble. When I don't understand, I will surrender to your plan. Don't clap your hands, everybody. I say to me, don't fail me now. Don't chase it, ready? Yeah, somehow I walk. You know your plans you have for me. There's no evil. It's all good things. Lord, I love you. I will trust you. So here I let my fear die. That's why I'm walking. With my eyes can get it right. Faithful be my guide. And even through the trouble, I don't understand. I'll relinquish all my plans.
Good Lord, open up doors. Took me down a path I ain't never been before. Looking at the road, I don't see a lot of space. Guess I gotta drop my load, cause you're picking up the pace. Don't leave me to die, be by my side. I get a little anxious, please be my guide. I got my feet shot, I've been prepping for the moment I would get the green light. So if you see me, I'm rolling like feet. Don't fail me now.
Trying to tell you like I am. By faith. Oh Lord, I'm walking. Anybody else going? Yeah, say I am. I'm walking. When my eyes can't get it right, will be my guide. I'll follow. When I don't understand, I'll surrender to your plan. For me. Please don't fail me now. I'm walking. Trying to tell you like, I'm walking. Anybody else going? Yeah, say I am. Can I get a witness? I'm walking. Wherever you.
Yo, good morning. What's up, everybody? Good morning to y'all. Hope everybody's doing all right this marvelous Thursday morning. It's chilly Thursday morning. It's a little chilly here in Chicago. I stepped outside for a hot second. And it's chilly, man. It's cool out there. It's like something about Chicago. The weather just flips instantly. I don't know what it is. When going into fall, the weather just flips, like instant flippage. I don't understand it. It happens every year, and we always know it's coming. So here I am in a sweatshirt. Y'all see me in tank tops and stuff. Now I'm in a sweatshirt. But whatever the case is, it's sunny, it's still beautiful, and it's Thursday, and we made it all the way through this part of the week. and I hope everybody's doing good. You've locked in with ZekeLive in the morning. A great way to start your day. The best way, dare I say, to start your day. Okay. I told you I got bars. I better clock that. I better clock that. I'm gonna get it right. There you go. Clock that. Hey, what's up, man? I'm so glad y'all came here this morning. And yeah, we got an exciting show today. I'm excited about this particular topic. This is something that I'm gonna say I visit it all the time, but I visit it quite a bit. I visit this topic quite a bit because it's a good topic. The topic today is just looking at the different generations. How do these generations shape up? What's the difference? We titled it, of course, Boomers, Generation Culture. For today's show, we'll do some conversation around that. What are the things that divide the different generations? What are some of the things that unite us? There are a lot of things that unite us. A lot of things that, we maybe overlook, that unite us, but we do know the differences. But I think it's good to call that stuff out, to recognize that stuff, because the world keeps turning. The one thing about this world is going to keep turning from generation to generation, and every generation is novel at one point. Every generation is new at one point, but then we keep aging, we keep getting a little older, and so then we go from being the new generation on the block to being the old heads on the block. It's just what happens. It's the way of the world. But what's also true is that oftentimes we think that what we've done in our generation is the best, and that's the best. It's the pinnacle of everything. It's the best it's going to get. It's the best we're going to be. We start thinking like that sometimes. And so, we don't want to, we don't want to get stuck there. We've been stuck there all the time. Every generation does it. We start writing off the younger generations. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be that way. We don't want to do that. So we'll at least engage in the conversation. I had to grab my coffee. We'll at least engage in the conversation because it's good conversation to engage in. I just realized I don't got my wedding ring on. When I come back, I'm going to have my wedding ring on, babe. I promise. So, so we got a good show with that. Let me just give you a quick rundown of the show. If I can find it. I dropped my phone, then I stepped on it. So y'all got to, y'all know how I am with this phone. Horrible with it. Let's see. What do we got for today's run of show? So we are, of course, right now. I'm on the screen right now. Hey, y'all. Good to see y'all. I'm your host, Zeke Locke. I'm glad to be here. Of course, I got my illustrious hosts, Eric Rideout and Rich Holmes. They'll be on here and a little bit later on. But then let's see here. So at 8 o'clock, we'll do our morning shout outs and morning affirmations. If you haven't said good morning already, do me a favor, say good morning. Let me know that you're here because at 8:30, we always do our morning shout outs, our morning affirmations. So we definitely want you to lock in, tap in, say good morning, name the day. That's one of our traditions we do over here. We name the day. So that's going on at 8 o'clock. Then at 8:30, we'll have some conversation around what the different generations are, what years they were born, some of the things that impacted those generations. Then at 9 o'clock, we'll be back with my man's Eric Rideout, and we'll kind of talk about, how those generation shifts have shifted culture and other things like in the workplace and other stuff like that. Just the real practical stuff, how we see those different generations play out. And then at 9:30, we'll be back with my man's Rich Holmes. He's on the cruise, so granted that he's able to get on, we'll be on. But we'll talk about that, how that has impact, like in places like church spaces, those sacred spaces like that, and how different generations have those impacts. And so the whole goal for today is to get us to see how we can work together while also growing, continuing to grow, continuing to do better, be better, and just watching how the world just continues to evolve while not losing ourselves in the midst of it, but making space for others, for other generations, other culture, other things like that. And so that's today's show. It'll be a good conversation. I promise it won't be boring. Well, I don't promise it won't be boring. It won't be boring to me because I enjoy this topic. But so it won't be boring to me. If y'all are like me, it won't be boring to you either. But let me give you a couple of quick updates really quick. The first update that I need to give you is to let you know to follow us. Of course, subscribe, follow, do all of that kind of stuff. If you haven't done so already, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're over here on the YouTube side with us, I think we're still live on Facebook this morning. I think. Now, Facebook was tripping yesterday, and I didn't feel like figuring it out. So, and to this day, till right now, I still have no idea, no clue why Facebook went off yesterday. But as long as we're still there today, I'm good. I ain't gonna try to figure it out or nothing. But here we are. So, anyways, if you haven't done so, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for us over on YouTube. That's it right there, Zeke Lock. Of course, if you're here, you already know that. But you can hit the turn on your notifications button, because then it'll let you know that we got a new show that's loaded up. That's how you end up being the first comment of the day. Hint, hint, on the morning affirmations. We always give a big to-do to the first comment of the day. And so that's how you do that. But then there's also, of course, the Facebook side. You can follow us on Facebook right there, Zeke Lock. That's my profile page. And if you reverse the name to Lock Zeke, that's my that's my profile. If you reverse the name, if you just go with the name Zeke Lock, that's my page. But my profile is reverse the name, Lock Zeke. You can follow me on both of those spots. And of course, you can follow us on IG and TikTok, all those other places like that. We love to have you. Of course, y'all know we are live every morning from 7:30 to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So continue to lock in. We appreciate y'all for that. That's the first update. Second update that I need to give y'all. Guess who's home, y'all? My wife came home last night. Yes, my wife spent her first night home in a week and a half last night. So she is downstairs on the couch sleeping, I think. Stretched out down there. So she is home right now. She's home right now. So I'm really appreciative to that. Thank y'all for your prayers. Thank y'all for all your good vibes, good energy, all your kind words, all of that stuff. I am glad she's home. That's one stress that is off of my life for a minute. So I am, and those who heard the sickle cell episode, y'all know what I mean when I say that's one stress that's gone for a minute. We know it comes back. We get it. But I'm glad for this moment of respite. I've been watching Bridgerton. They don't say respite. They say respite. The respite. It's a moment of respite that I get to have. Yeah, I'm going to start talking like Bridgerton. I'm going to do a whole episode like Bridgerton. Because I still got to come back and do my Queen Charlotte review. We might do that tomorrow. I said I might do it today. And then I woke up this morning. I was like, you know what? I don't want to talk about that today. So, I didn't want to talk about it today. But I do want to talk about what's fresh on my mind. But anyways, I'm glad my wife is home. So thank y'all for your prayers. Thank y'all for your well wishes. Thank you for the positive energy and the positive vibes that you sent our way. We definitely appreciate it, and I love y'all all the more for it. So thank y'all so much. She's home. I'm sure she's glad to know that y'all were praying for her and all that. She was chiming in as much as she could from the hospital, but my hope now is that she'll just get some sleep, get some rest that she wasn't getting while at the hospital. I would encourage you to do this. Last Thursday, not this past, 2 weeks ago today, we did an episode on sickle cell. Great episode. It was just me and my wife, the whole show. Great episode. So, when I'm talking so almost nonchalantly and casually about my wife being in the hospital, sometimes I'm talking about her in the hospital. It's feels a little nonchalant or casual or normal. Well, that's because it is. And so, check out that sickle cell episode, the sickle cell awareness episode from a couple of weeks ago, because that is one that we discussed it. We discussed what sickle cell is, what the impact of it is on not only her, but on the family, on her, on us, on our household. So you understand my joy when I say I'm glad she's out the hospital. And I'm glad for this moment of respite. I'm glad for this moment of peace that we get to have while she's out. So y'all keep her in prayer, because obviously there's that, the recovery period. Again, you learn all this in the sickle cell awareness episode, but there's that period of recovery that she still has to go through. That period of trying to get some rest while she's at home, because obviously for the last week and a half, she hasn't really gotten any sleep. So anyways, thank you for your prayers, kind words, positive energy. Everybody who gave me a little something. There was a few people, a couple times she's been in the hospital, and people would send me money or something, go get you some lunch, because I know it's expensive, and yeah, it does get expensive, so I'm just grateful to everybody who did anything like that. y'all don't even understand how much I appreciate that. So I just want to publicly say, on behalf of us, on behalf of the Locke household, I just want to tell y'all thank you so much for all of that. Kind words, kind posts, kind gestures. It's just being kind. You don't have to be nice. People don't have to be nice to you. So I appreciate it. Yeah. So thank y'all for that. Let's see here. So let's dive into this just a little bit, because like I said, today's show, we're talking about the different generation from baby boomers, and really we'll even go back a little further than that. Some of y'all might not be familiar with the term. If you're a little older, you know this term, but if you're younger and you're watching this, you might not be familiar with the term the silent generation. You're used to calling everybody that's old, a boomer, but there's a generation before the boomers. There's the silent generation. So, we'll talk all the way through that about what that is. But I think it's an important conversation. I really do think this is an important conversation to have because, again, the world just keeps on turning. The world just keeps on spinning. And the problem with that is, again, like I said, every generation gets to a point where they think that what made sense for them is the pinnacle. Whether that be, what made sense in the workplace, whether that be what made sense in the economic spaces or financial markets, whether that be what made sense just in general culture, whether that be what made sense in church. Like, every generation has just what was culturally relevant at the time. Like, that it was momentarily, if you will, relevant to them, and it had deep impact, lasting impacts on them. And a lot of times that stuff is shaped by major events that happen, in those generations. For instance, for millennials and for Gen Z, and even a little bit of Generation Alpha, but they won't be impacted as much. You take the pandemic, for instance, that impacted millennials and Gen Z in ways we are still, it really impacted every generation before us as well. But I mean, the way it impacted how we approached work, how we had to like adapt and stuff like that, the pandemic and the quarantines, that was a major impact. You take things like the Vietnam War, the major impact, World War II, like these things shape the way cultures move, but those things also become not so relevant later on, like take my generation. We'll talk about this a little later when we get back off the music break. But I'm a millennial, right? Millennials, 9/11, like that shaped us as millennials. That shaped our world view. That shaped a lot of stuff for us. But you take people born Generation Z, Gen Z, they were like, the early ones were babies at the time. They don't remember 9/11. And for Generation Alpha, that's ancient history for them. Means nothing to them. But you look at someone like me, right? I mean, I was born in 1983. That was only 3 years after the Iranian hostage crisis. You know what I mean? That has very little impact to me. I was alive when the Soviet Union fell, when they took down the wall, all that. Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall. I was alive at that time. I was alive. And I could not give you a memory of that. But that kind of stuff shaped the way a generation before me approaches life and approaches the world. So again, what am I trying to say right now? I'm saying, so for my generation, that just didn't mean anything. But for another generation, it meant something major, which impacted how they moved. But now if they try to get me to do the same things that they did because of the things that impacted them, it just won't have any relevance to me. And so what oftentimes ends up happening, unfortunately, is that different generations, the older we get, it seems like we start trying to make, the next generation. We raise our kids the best we can. We teach the best we can. We do all that stuff the best we can. But unfortunately, we're pulling from a limited array of knowledge. But the world, again, keeps on churning. It keeps on changing. It keeps on moving. So what do we do about that? And that's the question that we do today. What do we do about that? How do we engage with younger generations and older generations for younger people? How do we engage across the generational spectrum while still remaining true to who we are, but while respecting each generation for who they are, for what things impacted them? Yes, certain things, just listen, Taylor Swift, God bless Taylor Swift. She is amazing. She's doing her thing. She's actually a millennial. See, millennials are running the world for the most part right now. A little bit. We'll say a little bit, but we'll get into that. But God bless her, but she just not my style. You can give me all the Taylor Swift references. I know she's getting married, all of that. You can do all that, and that's about the cap of what I know of Taylor Swift. She's an amazing artist. She does major tours that garner a lot of money. She's about to marry Travis Kelce. That's about the extent of what I know about Taylor Swift. Maybe we sing Shake, Shake, Shake It Off because it was playing in the elevator somewhere. But you start using a bunch of Taylor Swift references, and what am I gonna get from that? That's just not me. I don't get it. But at the same time, if I were to bring up a bunch of, I don't know, the R. Kelly references or something, I don't know, that didn't age well, I guess. But if you bring up a bunch of R. Kelly references, then my grandparents are like, who is R. Kelly? Like, what's a R. Kelly? Like, they don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so, the generations, they shift, they change, they switch over. And oftentimes, like I said, what we do is we lose sight of that, and we think that what made sense for us is just what will make sense for here on out forevermore. And if you get into church spaces, then the unfortunate part about that is we start saying stuff like, well, God is the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. Yeah, that may be true, but the way people communicate with God, come to God, learn God, like experience God, is not the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. You see what I mean? Like, like we all need money. That's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. You could throw examples at it. Yeah, but the way we make money and how much we need ain't necessarily the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. So, yeah, it may be true that when you got out of college, baby boomers, y'all got out of college and you could buy your first house and, everything was just, it wasn't easy. I get it. But my God, it was not the same difficulty it is for a millennial getting out of college trying to buy a house, because things changed, didn't they? We went through the housing crisis and all that. So where y'all could buy a house for $30,000 right out of college, and you can get your first car for $3,000. These are real numbers people were spending. Well, it cost us $30,000 for the base model vehicle, which again for y'all was a house, and for us that was a car. At the same time, when the job markets were changing and the baby boomers weren't leaving the workforce, right? So it impacted us differently. And then houses, you want a decent house, you had to come off at least 6 figures for it. Now, how was you going to do that when you had student loans, when that crisis got out of hand? Because, you went to college for, you could work a job and full on pay for college. That was, because it was costing you $10,000 for the entire education. Well, what do you do when somebody goes to a state school and it costs them $15,000 per semester? Like, how do you relate to that person? The things that you were able to accomplish are different than the things that another generation is able to accomplish, because the world continues to change. And so today's conversation, again, it's all about understanding that. It's all about understanding that those changes happen. Those changes are real. Those changes have happened. They continue to happen. They will continue to happen. And if we don't know how to reach across generations and communicate with each other and deal with each other, then, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle. The world we're going to always be at odds with each other. And so today's show is about diving into that just a little bit. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a music break here. We'll come back. We'll talk about all that stuff. We'll have a good time. We'll have a good time with it. Can y'all tell that my voice sounds a little bit not the same, like the change in the air? And I was sneezing beforehand. So sinus season is upon us. Y'all keep all the people dealing with sinus issues. Keep them in your prayers. A lot of people like sinus has been taking them out. So y'all keep people in your prayers with these sinus issues. I know I'm dealing with them right now. So let's do this though for right now. We're gonna take a music break. Y'all mind doing that? If we take a music break and then we'll come right back with our morning shout out. So when we get back, we'll do our morning shout outs. Of course, that's in the 8 o'clock hour. Then at 8:30, we'll dive some more into this conversation about reaching across the generational spectrum. We'll do a little bit more of that. But for now, let's go ahead and take this music break right here. I think we'll play some of this new music that we've already played. How about Mr. Jordan May with Better With You? How about that? We'll play that. And maybe E-Man. Those are a couple new songs we got. And then we'll be right back. After these messages, we'll be right back. Y'all make sure you say good morning if you haven't said so already. If you haven't said good morning already, say it, because when we get back, we're into our morning shout-outs. Hey, here's Jordan May.
Can I be honest with you? Sometimes my heart gets to racing and I get impatient. Can I be honest with you? I get so lost in the matrix and I wanna trade places. Cause I thought when I fell, you would walk away. It made me feel some type of way, made me feel some type of way. So I know every time I drift away, you catch me with grace. And I'm better with you, with you. Cause mountains only move by faith. But I'm better with you. Conceal the truth revealed in you. Cause I thought when I fell, you would walk away. It made me feel some type of way, made me feel some type of way. I know every time I drift away, you catch me with grace. With you. Cause mountains only move by faith. Lord, I'm better with you. To life, there is no greater revelation than the lamb that came down and sacrificed. Nobody, I know who I gotta do. I'm better with you. I'm better with you, hey. Cause mountains only move by faith. But I'm better with you.
Come on, let's get one more in there before we get to our morning shout outs. Here goes E-Man. If you haven't said good morning already, do me a favor and say good morning, because coming up next is our morning shout outs and affirmations. Say good morning and name the day. We'll be right back. More ZekeLive in the morning.
Wake up in the morning, I'm blessed, I'm still here. Commanding my day and speak to it through prayer. He's the God of my day, God of my day, God of my day. He's the God of my day, He's the God of my day, God of my day, God of my day. He's the God of my day. Some people wait until something happens, then they start praying that it isn't so. What if you did things different, can you imagine? The favor that follows wherever you go. my prayer's not based on my day now. My day is based on my prayer. By grace, He has everything I say now. He is good. My prayer's not based on my day now. My day is based on my prayer. So even if it doesn't go my way now, He is good. He is good. He is good. He is good. Wake up in the morning, I'm blessed. I'm still here. Commanding my day and speak to it through prayer. He's the God of my day, God of my day, God of my day. He's the God of my day. He's the God of my day, God of my day, God of my day. He's the God of my day.
I put my foolish pride aside in acknowledgement of your goodness. Everything is the Lord's in the earth in its fullness. Was deaf to the voice from the pulpit. Straighten up my mind from the thoughts that were crooked. Isolated from the shame, totally dependent on self. Now I abide in your shadow, in your presence I dwell. Deserved to fall, but was caught before I fell. Was so hard-headed, too stubborn to ask for help. Unworthy of your grace, begging you for lighter lords. Till I met a single mother in survival mode. Made me reject all the lies that I've been told. And made me reflect on the codes that I uphold. I'm a leader. Hey Drizzle, thank you for the feature. Exposing the manipulation of the great deceiver. Ain't no preacher. And I ain't perfect either. Following instructions, edify all my believers, Mario.
Wake up in the morning, I'm blessed, I'm still here. Commanding my day and speak to it through prayer. He's the God of my day, God of my day, God of my day. He's the God of my day. He's the God of my day, God of my day, God of my day. He's the God of my day.
Hey, He's the God of my day, the God of my day. I like that song. That's all right there. I like that one. I like that song. That's all right. I can rock with that. I can rock with that. Let's do it. You reach across. I need to do something. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I couldn't hear nothing. There we go. I couldn't hear nothing out of my speakers. They was kind of low. I need to hear a little bit more. I heard that song though. So let's do this, y'all. Let's get ahead and do our morning affirmations, our morning shout outs. And if you haven't said good morning, go ahead and say that for me. Y'all know what we do over here. We name the day. We make sure that people have that. Those count as our morning affirmations. We name the day, make sure people have something they can take with them. I'm gonna give y'all a real quick testimony to those who may be new around here, or maybe it's your first time listening or something. You maybe never heard me say this before, but I remember a couple weeks ago or last week, again, all the days run together. I think it was last week. I woke up in the morning and the first thing I said out of my mouth was, damn. Y'all forgive me, forgive the language. First thing I said out of my mouth, literally, I was just like, and it's just one of them, like when you just don't feel like doing something, you know how you do it. It just be, oh, damn. And that was the first thing I said out of my mouth. And then I corrected myself. I said, wait a minute. Who am I to curse my day like that? And you know what was on my mind that made me fix that so quickly? It was the fact that I knew that we get on here, we get live on here, and we name the day. And I was like, no, people gonna be naming the day, all kinds of good stuff. And here I am already cursing my day. So no, I chose to affirm goodness in my day. You can affirmations can be bad stuff too. Affirmations are just basically the things you affirm, the things you agree with. And so I choose now to agree with a good start to my day. If this is going to be a great way to start my day, and then I'm going to take everything from that I can. So I love it when the lock stars chime in and when y'all name the day with us. I love when that happens. And so let's see who we got in here. Who we got in the comments. Let's get on to it real quick. First comment of the day today. First person with a comment goes to Mama. There she is right there. Good morning, family. So glad to be here. If you're new here, Mama always puts that sign, Miss Sherry State. She always puts that sign right there with the blood drops and the heart and all that stuff like that. When you see that, that means your family ain't just the people you was born to, but it's the people that you choose in your life. And so I appreciate that. The Lock Stars, that's who we are. We are family. Every morning we get on here, we hash out these different ideas, we laugh, we start our day together, And I love that. And so we are a family in that sense. And so good morning, all of y'all family. That's right there from Mama saying good morning. She also left us with this note. So many who didn't wake up this morning, so let's make it a thankful Thursday. And I got my Tambo. Hold on. I got my Tambo. I know that sounds horrible in the microphone, but I'm still shake it. Shake it fast. Shake it fast. Watch yourself. She said somebody didn't wake up, so that's why we make it a thankful Thursday. So go ahead and mark that in your lexicon as an affirmation. It's thankful Thursday. Have a little bit of gratitude. Like she said last week, she still means it. He's better to me than I've been to myself. So here's another day triumphant. I love that. Triumphant. Yeah. Triumphant Thursday. Go ahead and shake that Tambo for that. It's a thankful Thursday. It's a triumphant Thursday. Y'all go ahead and mark that down. I love it. And she's on the Facebook side with us as well, keeping the party alive over there. It looks like we're live on Facebook still. Yesterday, we lost our Facebook connection on both the page and the profile, and I don't know how or why, but looks like we're running well today. So let's pray that stays the same all the way through the 10 o'clock hour, the 10 o'clock show time. Let's do that. Then check this out, y'all. It's my dog, my friend, my homie. Matter of fact, I'm going to play this because his voice is on it, and you'll hear his voice. Mr. Joshua Hunter, that's my brother right there. And there he is right there, an amazing vocalist. Hold on, wait a second. Let me turn the track up so y'all can hear his voice. Let me just let y'all hear his voice real quick. Just a real quick moment. Just a quick moment. That's Josh. Yeah, that's Josh right there with that. That's him on that, doing that cool little run right there. So good morning to my friend Josh Hunter. I ain't seen him in too long. I need to see you a little bit more, Josh. He's all over those backgrounds, and that's him doing the little solo parts right there. So shout out to Josh, man. Hope all is well with you. Glad to see you here this morning. Who else we got in here? We've got a Bronya, aka on the YouTube side, y'all know her as Brony Cat 1. There she is right there. The church announcement lady. We ain't seen her in a couple days, so I'm excited for this announcement. Welcome ZekeLive. Welcome to ZekeLive in the morning with host ZekeLive and Eric and Rich and Rhonda. Grab your cups and let's be thankful. For this Transformation Thursday. Let's come up with ways for all generations to unite. I love that. Transformation Thursday, my tambourine. There it is. My tambo is Transformation Thursday. You can transform in your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So let's go ahead and renew our minds so that we can make transformation in the world. We can do that. Shout out to Brony Cat. And of course, she always asks us what we got to drink. I had to do this on my own the last couple of days of Bronya, but that's all right. I still love you. I know you be busy with life. So in my cup today, I got my paper cups because I ain't washing no dishes, even though my wife was home. My goal was to wash the dishes before she got home, and I didn't do that. I did not. It's a dish sink full of dishes. I mean, cups and plates and everything. I told y'all yesterday I went and bought paper goods because I didn't have time to wash dishes. So anyways, in my cup, I got some coffee. I went to the store last night. We stopped at the store. And I don't know if y'all heard this brand of coffee, Better Goods. It's not even just a brand of coffee. It's like Walmart's upscale generic brand, if that makes sense. It's that, every store has their upscale generic brand. So Walmart, Better Goods coffee, and they got a chocolate hazelnut coffee that I just adore. I love it. It's Walmart, Better Goods. I love that coffee. Listen. My wife bought some Cafe Bustelo, and I had to drink that yesterday because we ran out of the other coffee. And that Cafe Bustelo is not the will of God for my life. I don't really care for it personally. But that Better Goods, oh man, that's some the chocolate hazelnuts. Anyways, that's what I'm drinking this morning. Curious, what are y'all drinking this morning? What y'all got in your cup this morning? What y'all got in your cup? Like I said, I got my coffee in my cup, so that's me. That's what I got going on. So thank you for that reminder, Miss Brony Cat. Thank you for that reminder. Let's see who else we got. And real quick, whatever y'all drinking in your cup, whatever you're drinking in your cup, drink whatever you want. But if you got some alcohol in your cup and you ain't on vacation, then I do have resources available I want to throw that out there. I do have resources available. If in your cup this morning is an alcoholic beverage and it ain't even noon yet, you know, I got resources available to help you out to deal with whatever's going on. But, you know, some people got their tea. Some people got their coffee. Some people just drinking water or orange juice. Drank some orange juice yesterday. Thought about getting a cup of that, but I needed something to wake me up a little bit more because I'm still a little tired and I got a long day ahead. So let's see. Who else we got in the comments? We got T, a.k.a. Tajayla Wood. There she is right there. It's Tajayla Thursday. How about that? I'll take the sample for that. She said, good morning, everyone. And here's a day, Thrive Thursday. Thrive Thursday. I love that. They get the tambourine. They get the tambo. Let's thrive. She says, let's strive to thrive in life to meet our goals. I feel like we missed one good rhyme right there. Let's strive to thrive in life. No, how about this? Let's strive to thrive in 2025 and for the rest of our lives. Lock it, baby. There it is right there. Thank you for that reminder, T. Yeah, we're going to thrive today. So whatever you got going on, whatever you're going to do, thrive in it. Thrive in it. Thrive in it. And look at that. Mama saying she's glad she's home. Yes, I am too. I'm glad she's home because I was sick of going up to that hospital and she was sick of being in the hospital. So I'm glad she's home. Talk about my wife. Anyone who just joined in, my wife is home. She got home last night. Went to pick her up last night. So I'm excited about that. Yes. I don't have to be a lonely husband anymore. Let's see here. Speaking of mamas, there's one of the mamas of the show. That's Eric's mama, Mrs. JP Rideout. Y'all go show her some love, and she says it always like this. Good morning. I gotta stretch out what I say. My stretch for the day. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. There she is right there. Y'all show her some love. Y'all know how I feel about the mamas of the show. That's Eric's mama right there. So show her some love. There she is. And then look right here. It's my girl, my sis, my friend, just somebody who's just always there for me whenever I call on her. It's my girl, Rita Miller. I know we always teasing Rita. Y'all know we always be like, free Rita. Because we call her our jailbird. We be saying Rita is gangster. But the reality is Rita is the sweetest person you'll ever meet. Like, if you're on her good side. Yeah. So there she is right there saying good morning to you, girl. Love you to pieces. Miss you dearly. Let's see here. Yo, my auntie Regina, morning nephew and Lockstars family. I love that. Good morning to the whole Lockstars family, and I love this. Today is Transition Thursday. Come on, give that some tambo. Today is Transition Thursday. Even as we're talking about dealing with different generations and all that stuff, generations transition from generation to generation. So we have to be able to transition with the times. So be transformed. Transition. Like, it's okay to do that. And remember that on this Thursday. So put that in your lexicon as a name and an affirmation for the day. Transition today. Whatever that transition is. Somebody might have a real transition that you're going through. Maybe you got to transition with work or something like that. I don't know. Transition in your church life. Transition in some ministry. You know, like, everybody reserves the right to have those transitions, and everybody reserves that right. So if that's your vibe for today, go ahead and do that. Yeah, there you go right there. Oh, it looks like I'm not the only person who's drinking Walmart coffee, Better Goods brand. Yeah, you can get that on Walmart Plus. I'm telling you, look, Mama says it's good. She loves it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling y'all, I didn't know I was buying that brand for a couple other things as well. I just thought it was another brand that was on the shelf, and I was like, it was a decent price point, and the ingredients looked good because we were like kind of watching ingredients and all that stuff, all the additives and everything, and it was like, I think me and my wife one day was just like, what is Better Goods? Like, where did they come from? They just popped up on the shelf. We started buying them. We looked it up, and we were so shocked. I mean, like, woo! When we found out that it was Walmart's brand. Y'all know, because if you buy your food at Walmart, every now and then you gotta get some generic stuff every now and again, which means you're gonna get that great value, great value and all that. Well, Better Goods is like a step up. It's a step up. It goes along the line, the luxury stuff, So it's a good brand. They didn't pay me to say that. They're not sponsoring me yet. Clap back. They didn't sponsor me yet, but I'm just saying that because they really are that good. I really do like them. So I would suggest that coffee. I would suggest that one. Let's see who else we got in these comments. Let me see. Oh, we clicked the right thing. Shout out to my dog Christopher True Hood. I gotta get my hood voice on. Yo. I don't know. That's just good. That's hood for y'all. There you go, right there, saying good morning to everybody. Good morning to you, Dr. Hood. Good to see you on today. Yeah. I still got to edit the video and stuff. I thought I was gonna get to that this week. I honestly thought I was gonna get to it this week. But my wife, of course, being in the hospital. I was trying to think of something. I was trying to think of something else. But anyway, she was in the hospital, and then just all of that. I still ain't got to it. So y'all gonna see the work that me and Hood put in last week. We did that work last week, and I haven't edited it yet. But y'all get to see that real soon. I think I'm gonna take a day and show y'all some of the videos we worked on. At least give you some of the clips, like a sneak peek as the songs are getting ready to come out and stuff. A little sneak peek for the Lock Stars. Maybe we'll do something like that. I'm choking on M&Ms. I ate some peanut M&Ms on the break, and now they all in my throat. So pause. I gotta watch out for that. He said it was definitely great vibes that day. It was good vibes that day. And there's Rita saying, "What's up to Mama Rideout?" There it is, right there. Yeah. And Rita said, "Make sure you stay on a good side." That's how she stays sweet. Yeah. So, she's gonna take a pyrotechnic course. Mama's gonna take a pyrotechnic course, and so is Toddy. Ooh, that's gonna be good. Have a certificate to burn stuff and blow things up. That's pretty cool. That's transition right there. Look at that. Looking to do something new. When I can afford y'all, I'm gonna hire y'all in. That's what I said. They do big stuff over there. Toddy and Mama, they do big stuff. They do big movies and stuff. When I get bigger and I get somebody to sponsor all this stuff, I'm gonna have to bring them in, and we're gonna have to do big pyrotechnics and all of that, and all to blow some stuff up live on the air. I don't know, just for the hell of it, I guess. I don't know. So we'll do that, I guess. Thank y'all for chiming into the comments with your morning shout outs. And as you can see, your comments will show up over here on the side. If you're watching, they'll show up over here in the bottom right corner of the screen. You'll see them pop up. Like I just saw a new comment that just popped up right now from Mama one more time. She says she'll give me the family discount. Now I don't know. My granddaddy taught me not to trust the family discount because the price be, Papa, let me get that. My mama said that my grandfather, he used to sell jewelry and stuff at the conventions. Not just jewelry, but other stuff. He would be like a vendor sometimes at the convention. I remember that too. Like at the big Baptist conventions, he would sometimes have that. And so he'd be selling stuff. My mama said, he was like, "Oh, Dad, let me get one of those." And, and he was like, "Yeah, cool. I'm going to give you the discount. I'll give you the family discount." So, supposed to be giving the family discount, and the family discount ends up turning into, so what's the price there for the family discount? Oh, yeah, I'll sell that to you for $150. Okay, cool. You cool. All right, bet. Then somebody else comes along. Oh, what's the cost, Ray? That's $100. Hold on, Dad. Wait a minute. I thought you gave me the family discount. He said, yeah, the family discount is more expensive. That's how I pay. That's how I'm able to afford to give everybody else the discount. So charge the family more in order to pay for the discounts you giving everybody else. So I don't know, Mama. You gotta let me know if the family discount is if the price is $2,500 for some pyrotechnics and you charging me $3,000, call it the family discount. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Anyways, thank y'all for locking in with the morning affirmations. I tell y'all, those morning affirmations, they mean something. They set the date off right. They get the day going right. It puts something positive on people's mind. Hold on, wait a minute. We got you, but with all the dots, I don't know. I don't know. 10,000 might look like 15,000 for me. I don't know. Them dots look suspicious. I don't know. No. These morning shout outs, y'all, they start the day off right, and they give us family, something to take with us for the day. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're dealing with. I don't know what's happening in your life and in your household. I don't know. But if you can take some of these words that these fellow Lockstar family have left on the screen today, if you can take some of those words and apply them to yourself, I promise you, like if you're going through a tough time and you can remember, like my auntie Regina said, it's Transition Thursday. If you're having a tough time and you could just maybe remember and be reminded that maybe you're just going through a transition and you're just going through the growing pains, that might help you to endure. You know what I mean? If you can remember that today is Thrive Thursday, like Tajayla said, if you can remember that, it's Thriving Thursday, then maybe it'll give you the motivation that you need to keep pushing forward. You see what I mean? That's why these things are important. You know, if you can remember that today is Transformation Thursday, maybe it'll help you to remember, especially if you're more spiritually minded or, church minded, Bible reader. Then when you see that word transformation, oftentimes we think of be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so maybe it'll remind you, renewing of your mind, maybe it will remind maybe it'll remind you to continue pursuing new things, new goals, like to open yourself up to new stuff. So that's why these morning affirmations are so good. They're so good. They're so necessary. They're so needed. They're so needed. They're so needed. And we definitely appreciate when y'all lock in with that stuff. It helps me in the daytime. It makes me feel well. And so I know it's doing that for other Lockstar families. So y'all continue to do that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all continue to stay in these comments. We're going to take another music break in a minute here. Like I said, when we get back, we're going to dive into this conversation. This conversation around generation shifts. How generations shift. That's that is major topic of discussion, because every generation, of course, has its things. It has the things that are important to it. It has the things that matter to them. We kind of already got to that discussion a little bit. We'll talk about that in a lot more depth when we get back after this music break. I feel like this music break, though, I want to jam. So maybe we'll play our jam, and I'll play the song just about every day. And I do that intentionally because it's such a good song. But it's one of those ways that generations, that they rock out house music. You know what I mean? I'm going to play my jam. Y'all get ready to turn your radio up. Get ready to turn it up real loud. I'm going to check in on my wife downstairs. I'll make sure she's all right. And then, go make sure she's all right. Put my wedding ring on because I done took it off and set it down somewhere. For all y'all married people, do y'all take your wedding rings off? Or am I like the only person that does that? I know some people. There's one lady in my church. She said that she's been married, was 40 something years that she's been married, and she said she has never removed her wedding ring. I don't know if that includes cooking and other stuff like that. Getting it resized and I don't know if it includes none of that. And I don't know. Maybe she's taking it off of that. But she said in 4 years she ain't never took it off. And I noticed my wife never really takes her ring off, but I take mine off. Every chance I get, I take my ring off. It just be in the way. I just be like, so at nighttime, I take it off, all of that. I just wonder, do y'all do that, married couples? Or am I like the oddball who takes his ring off? It's like, I know I'm married. People know I'm married. I ain't shy about that. I don't take away from that. So, I don't know. That's just a random question, but we'll talk about all of that. And then let's see real quick. I got to say this one. It's my mama. She's on here saying, good morning. It's Thursday football night in America. Woohoo. And my mama's a Steelers fan, y'all. So my mama's a Steelers fan. I don't know where she got that from, but that's her story, and she's sticking to it apparently. So y'all say what's up to my mama. That's my mama, y'all. So y'all go say what's up to my mama. So y'all go say hi to her. My mama, she takes her rings off at night, so maybe that's where I get it from. Because I take that wedding ring off so quick. Like, soon as I get through the door, it's like, I set it down in my spot. And like, as soon as I walk through the door, that's how I do. But when we get back, we're talking about these different generations, how we can how we can reach across the aisle with each other and do all of that. But for now, turn your radio up. Let's play a little house music. It's Miss Frida. Hiya. I know I love this song. So let me go dance with my wife. Just step in for a second. Y'all say what's up to my wife. She just walked in. So I don't gotta go downstairs. That's good. I'm gonna go dance with her for a minute, and we'll be right back. For ZekeLive in the morning. Hey. think we made it back, y'all. Yeah. Y'all jamming? Did y'all go jam? Did y'all go jam? Like, don't lie to me. Did y'all go jam? Did y'all go have a good time? Did y'all go jam? I was jamming with my wife for a minute. We were just in there, just hugging it out. Yo, I'm so glad my wife was home. I got to hug it out with her for a minute. Just, you know, she's so thirsty for me. Yeah, my wife, she is so thirsty for me. She's so thirsty for me. Just, you know, I had to go in there and quench her thirst. To just give her a hug. Just let her, you know, just, because she a thirsty mug. You know, I'm waiting for her to open the door up and slap me. No, for real, I'm glad my wife was home, y'all. I'm glad she's home. It's good to be married and wish that your spouse is there with you. Because I could be like, dog, this mug coming home. It could be like that, but it ain't that way. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. All right, y'all. So I was just telling my wife this random story, and we're gonna get into this topic. But I was just telling my wife this random story. She was like, "How did you sleep?" And I was like, "I didn't really sleep. I was tossing and turning all night, and I had these wild nightmares." I ain't gonna tell y'all the whole dream. I ain't gonna tell y'all the whole thing, but I had a dream that I invited somebody over, and they said they lost their ring, and I was like, "Oh snap! Like, what did it look like?" And here's the wild part: Katy Perry was in a dream, and Katy Perry's mom. That's the wild part. It was Katy Perry and her mom. Like, and Katy Perry's mom was like a preacher. I don't know if that's real in real life, but Katy Perry's mom was like going on some traveling tour as a preacher, but she was using her daughter's, like, her daughter had a private jet and it had all kind of wild stuff on it, you know, very Katy Perry-esque. And she comes pulling up in the airport in this airplane that was, you know, Katy Perry is coming out and all that. And so we're on this Christian tour and it's got Katy Perry airplane. It was wild. I don't know. Anyways, dude said he lost his ring. Dude that I invited to the crib, he said that he lost his ring. And I'm like, oh, for real? What it look like? And he looked at my finger. I went and got my wedding ring. He looked at my finger. He says like that. He goes to grab my ring off my finger. And I'm like, yo. And I just like punched him. And then he like backed up and he started doing like backflips. I'd be like just in place, like 8 backflips in a row. Just bah. And I'm like, oh snap, this dude is finna whoop my tail. Like, this nigga know karate. Like, so he ran up on me and I just pushed him like, And he was like, how you gonna push somebody who know karate? Like, he said that in my dream. Like, and then he just ran off and I'm like, oh snap. And he was my guest, so I had all this stuff at the house. And next thing I know, later on, he shows up to, like, somebody else shows up to the house, like, I don't know, it's his brother, his cousin or somebody, to come and like beat me up. And then for whatever reason, I had a screwdriver and I just started, this gets a little graphic, so I ain't gonna get gory, but I just start to his eye. I just, and then like he ran off. And for whatever reason, all of a sudden we were at my parents' house. And so I'm knocking on the door to my parents like, hey, yo, I need somebody help. Like, somebody help. Like, I'm trying to keep this dude off. I'm hitting him with a screwdriver. And wild dream. I know. I don't know if this is a nightmare or just the wildest dream in the world. But this is my last night's dream. So my wife told me to tell it on air because I was just telling her we was in there cracking up. Isn't it crazy how dreams can be so wild? And then my dad gives me a piece, you know, a piece, a pew. And I'm like, Dad, I ain't never shot one of these before. And so then like he shows me how to shoot it, but we were like in the house. And so then we woke up the whole neighborhood because I shot a piece in the house. And yeah, because I shot my piece in the house because my dad was showing me how to do it. And then I don't know, then I woke up and I don't know where that dream came from. It's just wildness, just that. I be having some crazy dreams. And I know I ain't the only person who be having wild and crazy dreams. I be having some wild and crazy dreams. So that was my dream last night. Yeah, that happened. So yeah, so y'all pray for my mind. Y'all pray for my brain, because and that ain't even the fullness of that dream. That ain't even the it's just a wild, stupid dream. This is a stupid dream. Just we were all over the place. I don't know. It was just wild. My mama said, what was I eating and watching before bed? I was watching YouTube clips. Believe it or not, I was watching clip of, not clips, but, you know, I like to watch series, educational series and things like that, especially a lot of things on religion, church history, all that kind of stuff like that, you know, shifts in church world. I was watching that kind of stuff. So, you know, I watch a lot of wild stuff in that sense. I guess that's the wild and crazy thing to watch at nighttime. And also, I was not fully asleep. I clearly wasn't fully asleep because every time I woke up, then what was on the TV was also inside my dream. There was like other parts of the dream, like I said, and I would like wake up because I was tossing and turning, but I would fall right back to sleep because I'm just exhausted. You know, like been back and forth to the hospital and everything else going on, like just been exhausted. So last night I was just trying to sleep and I was on the couch. It was hot and cold at the same time. Now this is what I don't like about this time of year. It'd be hot and cold all at the same time. Like, I hate that about this time of year. Hot and cold. Like, put the covers on, I'm hot. Take the covers off halfway, I'm cold. Like, just cannot find any respite in any of this. I could not find. It's my Bridgerton accent. Yeah, so it was a little wild, y'all. It was a little wild of a dream. So y'all pray for my mind because I have no idea what that came from or what that was about. Anyways, let's dive into this topic. And then I woke up and I was like, I think I want to talk about how generations shift. So my brain be everywhere. That's what makes me me. So we are talking about how generations shift, how generations change, how things change across the spectrum from generation to generation. And like I said earlier, of course, the world keeps turning. You know, you can rewind a little bit and hear me give that spiel, but the world keeps on turning. It keeps on changing, and every generation seems to approach its own pinnacle. And when I say it approaches its own pinnacle, it means that like what was good for our generation, we think is just going to be good forever. The problem is there's a generation before us who thinks that what's good for our generation is a load of crap. Right, you young whippersnappers, you this, that, and the other, right? You know, why y'all listen to your music that way? Why do you wear your fashions that way? Why do you? I don't know. Why do y'all don't have any work ethic? Y'all, y'all don't know how to talk to people. This generation has no respect, and this, meanwhile, younger generations, they just outdated. They look at the older generations, they're just outdated. They're just antiquated. They just look at stuff the wrong, and it creates these divisions amongst us. When the reality is, obviously, we're all humans. We're all people. We're all children of God. The earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein, which means we all belong to the Lord at the end of the day. If we can't agree on nothing else, for those of us who are at least Christian-minded, because obviously somebody ain't going to agree with what I just said there. But nonetheless, we can at least agree that we're all human and we all share this moment right now together on this planet, in this space, in eternity. We all share this moment right now. I wasn't there when Queen Victoria was alive, but I was here for a moment with Queen Elizabeth. You know, I mean, so I never met her. I came in a close proximity with Queen Elizabeth once, though, when I was doing my study abroad in Canterbury, England, and they were ordaining the Archbishop of Canterbury. I was in Canterbury. The Archbishop of Canterbury is the head, only under the crown, is the head of the Anglican Church. And so that's a big deal. So all the royalty was there. A bunch of foreign dignitaries were there. The president was President Bush at the time. He was there. So I got a chance to see that. And so the Queen, her motor car, like I was right there on the edge because it was a big protest. There was a lot of people going out there, but the war was going on. So there's a big protest. And so of course everybody's out there with their signs and stuff. And I wasn't supposed to be out there, but I was out there anyways, because who's going to miss that moment in history? And I remember being right there, like kind of at the edge of where the street was, where they had it blocked off. And, the streets are very narrow. So it wasn't like we was very far away. I mean, her car drove about as far as literally if I wanted to, and if I wasn't scared that, if I wanted to, I could have just kind of edged over the barrier, the police barrier, and, just kind of stretched a little bit, and I would have actually been able to touch her car. I came that close to the Queen before. So, I've done that before. My wife just popped her head in talking about Obama too. Yeah. I mean, I've been around Obama a couple times, I was in England when Obama actually came to my church. My dad, Jesse Jackson, brought him down to my church with my dad. And when he was running for senator, and I was not here for that. I was over there trying to yell at the Queen. Anyways, I done got off on a tangent, but we share this space together on this planet in this part of eternity. We share all of this together. So what worked for your generation may not work for my generation. What works for my generation may not work for my future kids' generation or my future grandkids. Like, it's just the world keeps on spinning, but generations and times change. And if we're not careful, again, then we create these splits. And the problem is the elders need the energy of the youth and the youth need the wisdom of the elders. But if there's a split between the two different generations, then we lose something. And it appears that to some degree, there's a double-edged sword going on right now, the two-sided coin that's happening right now in the world, in my opinion. And it's just my opinion. But we're at a time where there's more things that seem to divide us. So there's more separation between generations, it seems like. Now, again, this is my opinion. I don't know. I've studied a little bit more, but it seems like there's more separation for us. While at the same time, the other side of that coin is there's more opportunity for us to actually cross collaborate, if you will, and talk to each other. You look at the internet, look at the show that we on right now across the spectrum that's watching this show. I know we got baby boomers. I know we got millennials. I know sometimes I got Gen Z on here. I know that even watching, I know I got some from the silent generation that have at times been on here watching. Like, I'm talking octogenarians, 80 up, right? Like, so let's go down what these different generations are. So every generation, and we'll just kind of name it out so people know what we mean when we say the different generations. And let's just kind of give that some grounding. So we'll start it right here. These are the people that are still alive in today's world. Now, there might be some people who are a generation above this, but we'll start it here. The silent generation. So most sociologists put them between 1928 and 1945. Now, these dates are pretty loose. There's no definitive date for when a generation switches over, but so these are just kind of averaged out, but the way based on whatever metric and scale sociologists, anthropologists, whatever way that they define this, like I said, different sociologists, different anthropologists, they will define these dates in different ways. So we're just going with a general thing, you understand, right? So the silent generation born 1928 to 1945. So here's some key markers for them. They grew up during the Great Depression and World War II. Great Depression, World War II. They're known for their discipline, their sacrifice, their loyalty, and they were the first to see widespread radio and early television. They were the first ones to see what the early days of TV looked like. The golden age of Hollywood. The silver screen was a big thing, but then the television came out. So they were the first to see that. And radio, that was what they got their entertainment through radio, all of that. But they lived through the Great Depression. I can remember what that meant for, like, my grandparents, for instance, who are part of the silent generation. When my parents moved into my grandparents' house in Las Vegas, it took them 2 years to clean the garage out. Because my grandfather had bought so much stuff, because that generation grew up in the Great Depression. They never knew when they was going to get something else. My granddaddy, he would always buy two of everything. My grandfather, Dr. Jet, he would always, buy a bunch of stuff. They would, because it was like they grew up and something was seared in their mind that we might, if I can get it right now, I better make sure I got enough, because I might not have access to it later on. They were scarred by things like the Great Depression. So they spent their lives making up for that. So that's why your grandparents look like they were hoarders all their lives, because they were always holding on to everything they had, because they remember growing up at a time when they lost everything, right? So see how that shaped it. But by the time we get to 1946, and if you're born between 1946 and 1964, I like how those two numbers go back and forth, 46 and 64. Well, these were the post-World War II economic boom babies. So the economic boom that hit America, and this, and America and some of Europe. Europe is a little bit different because they went through a rebuilding stage. So if you look at baby boomers who were born in Europe, in Western Europe especially, they have a very different approach to some degree than American baby boomers, because they were impacted differently by the war. And, if you've ever toured Europe or lived in Europe, then you understand what I mean when I say that. But let's look just at our American people, specifically our people, right? So they saw the economic boom. They saw suburban growth, which meant they were experienced to white flight. They grew up in the midst of white flight, and that's why they experienced the civil rights movement, the Vietnam War, and they watched the assassinations of JFK and MLK. John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr. They watched those assassinations. They saw the moon landing, so they saw great growth in those areas. They saw Woodstock, the rise and the fall of rock and roll. So they experienced all of that kind of stuff. You can ask a baby boomer right now. Most of y'all, many of y'all that are watching who are baby boomers, if I were to ask this question, where were you when Kennedy was killed? Where were you when Kennedy got shot? Where were you when Kennedy was assassinated? You probably have a vivid memory of what that was. Even if you were a child, you might have a vivid memory of what that was. If I say, where were you? What was going on when MLK was assassinated? You would probably remember that and be able to call that back. Well, for me, both of those things are ancient history. Like, they don't impact me that much, but they impacted that generation very heavily. Right? Who was next? If you were born 1965 through 1980, remember these are general terms, general dates. Then Gen X, Generation X, and that was a crazy, wild generation of people. Man, Generation X was wild. They experienced all the Cold War tensions, the fall of the Berlin Wall. Remember, I told you I was alive during that fall, the fall of the Berlin Wall and all that. And it's ancient history. I was just a child. It didn't mean anything to me. But Cold War tensions, Cold War tensions. They experienced all that. The fall of the Berlin Wall, the fall of the Soviet Empire, the Soviet Union, right? That was the MTV era. Hip hop found its beginnings. Punk and alternative rock, those found their beginnings there. And then there was the rise of personal computers and the early internet. So going through the 80s and the 90s, when the rise of computers and the internet space was there, that's when they were coming of age, right? The latchkey kids, so they had a more independent upbringing. They're kind of known for being the latchkey kids. They had, because this is when women's empowerment was full on by this point. Women had jobs and they were fighting for equality. They had jobs, they had political positions, prices and things had gone way up. Inflation took a number in 1979. And so inflation took a major number on people, which meant a lot more households were doing a lot, the parents, double parent households, or you had single moms who had to work. So a lot of kids had to raise themselves. There's a lot of memes and stuff about kids who had to raise themselves in the 80s. You know what I mean? Riding their bikes through town and stuff in the 80s. And they get out there and their parents they just go out and they just be home when the street lights come on. That was the only rule, right? That generation, that's the generation that lived that out. Then there's my generation. Shout out to the greatest generation of all time, Generation Y, also known as the Millennials, between 1981 and 1996. Those generations, of course, are the generations. That's when we were born. And so the big things for us, some things that impacted us was 9/11. I told you, it was my first year of college. And actually, I graduated. I left high school a year early. And so, I was in my first semester of college. I remember I was at community college at KCC. And I remember when all that happened. I remember getting ready for it. I remember my brother running into the room and knocking on the door. He was like, come here. Like, my parents had a den where the TV was on. And he was like, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center in New York. Like that. I went to watch it. And I remember watching the second plane run into the World Trade Center live, literally, while my brother told me to come in. They were doing all the news coverage about the first tower getting hit. Literally, as we're watching that live on the air, a second plane goes right into. I remember watching. It's seared in my brain. And of course, then they replayed it over and over and over again. So if it wasn't seared in my brain from watching it live, it was seared in my brain after that. But look how that impacted us, which then led, of course, to the War on Terror. I was just telling that story about being close to Queen Elizabeth when I was in Canterbury. That impacted my study abroad. My parents wouldn't let me stay longer because the Americans were very well hated around the world at that time. And so that has lasting impact on me. Of course, by the time I was out of college, there was the Great Recession. So we had the Great Recession with the home crisis and all of that and the bubble with that. Of course, then the student loan explosion. I'm still impacted by that nonsense. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so where my parents could work and pay their way through school, I couldn't have worked enough hours and had a full-time job and didn't to pay for school because it got so expensive. It got just that expensive. And so student loans took off. But we also saw the rise of social media, smartphones, and reality TV. Now, I'm not a fan of reality TV. Y'all know me. But, we saw that. So we were considered the first digital natives. In other words, bridging the analog to the digital age. We were the first ones to actually come up with, that's the millennials, the first ones to actually come up with that from childhood. But then we get to Gen Z, 1997 through 2012, right? So they're post 9/11 world. The world changed, airplanes, all that. So there were a lot more things like school shootings, global terrorism awareness was a big deal at this point. The aftermath of the recession, and then climate change awareness. I remember talking about climate change and global warming as a kid when it was first becoming a thing, but it made its way by now to the laws and all that stuff. So it became a big deal for Gen Z. And then they got hit with the pandemic during their school and college years. So the major event for them was the pandemic and the quarantines that we had to do, which has had a lasting impact on the way they approach the world. We hear reports about how Gen Z, when they go for job interviews and things, there was a study that came out that some of them actually show up with their mothers. Like they just did not they don't know how to, you know what I mean? And for the ones who did, they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to deal with each other. And for the ones who do, very often they find themselves, very shy or now trying to figure out how to bridge this gap, and feeling like that they lost connections, friendships, major events. I mean, people live their whole lives waiting for like high school graduation, college graduation. They look to they look to their wedding date, all that stuff. And these were the things that were going on for them. And during a period of their life, they weren't able to have none of that. I got some friends, some of my younger friends who still they still talk about how they did not have a high school graduation or a college graduation. And, they talk about it like a thing that they feel like they lost a major part of life. They didn't get a prom. They didn't get none of that stuff. Or they had grandparents who passed away and they had to watch a funeral on Zoom. These things are seared in their brains in ways that even millennials and up were able to maybe deal with a little differently because we didn't get hit that same way. So that was them. And now we fully come into a new generation, Generation Alpha, who is born 2013 through present. Now let that sink, because while old folks are still calling the youth millennials, we've got Generation Alpha born in 2013, which means Generation Alpha is 12 years old and up at this point in the year 2025. 12 years, which means they have fully come on into their own mind, their own way of thinking, their own view of the world. And so they were born with tablets, artificial intelligence or AI, streaming, virtual classrooms. They're the pandemic babies and toddlers, and something just flipped. They were born, a lot of them some of them born in the pandemic. Some of them were born going into the pandemic. So their formative years were spent with some of these changes. So they're still forming their identity, but they've been hyper connected. When we say hyper connected, we're talking about through the internet and everything from day one. So the first generation to be fully born into the day and age where you have to survive by the internet. This is the first generation to do that. So the question at hand when we get back from this next break, the question at hand when we get going is going to be, how do we now know that these major events, these major impacts have happened to us from generation to generation? How do we now see where that has had impact in our work life, in our school life, just in our everyday life? How do parents raise children who, of course, are obviously in other generations? How does that happen? In the old days, you had some parents and children who were part of the same generation. 14-year-old parent, it ain't impossible, but you get what I'm saying. How do we raise our children? How do we engage with older generations, understanding and knowing that everybody has been impacted in their time of formative years, their time of coming of age, their time of having, creating families, getting married, having children? How do we now engage with each other knowing that different things have impacted us, which means we have different views of the world around us. And this is an important topic, I believe, because again, if we have these dividers between generations, then older generations miss out on the activity and the energy and the strength of the youth. But with all of that strength and zeal and energy that the youth have, or the younger generations have, if they're not careful, they'll miss out on the wisdom and the knowledge and the stuff that comes from the older generations. And my fear is that, we're at a time where we're able to be separated, but we're also at a time on the other side of that coin where we're able to be very much together. And so there's two wolves inside of you. Which one are you going to feed? Are you going to feed the wolf of separation? Or are you going to feed the wolf of hyperconnectivity? I'm one who advocates for hyperconnectivity because I think that we need the wisdom of the elders. I think we need the strength of the youth. I think we need just the bridge of the middle age. There's a bridge of the mids. The people like the millennials. They're a great bridge. That's why I think millennials right now are the best generation alive. Not because everybody else is bad, but because we're the most connected to the old way and the new way. And so being able to make that bridge and that connection. And I think, again, that is important. And if we understand that role, then we'll all play a kind of a role that moves us closer to what I call and define as the kingdom of God, which is just heaven right here on earth. But as long as there's separation, that's going to be difficult. So let's do this. We're going to take a music break. We're going to come back and we'll dive into a little bit of that conversation with my man's Eric Rideout. I see him backstage. So we'll dive into that conversation with him because he and I, believe it or not, are from two different generations, believe it or not. And we've been able to work very well together over these years. And so, and I've got people around me who are from other generations. So we'll have that conversation. But for right now, let's play a couple songs. We'll be right back. And I'd love to hear y'all's take on all of this stuff. So y'all go ahead and leave your comments. I see some there. We'll approach it later. Right now, Nathan Davis Jr. Hey.
Woke up this morning, I got up and prayed. I'm thanking the Lord for another good day. I kept it simple, no need to explain. Yeah. The devil thought he had me, I got away. Yeah. Don't it feel good when you've been in his presence? Yeah. Walking with him ain't no second guessing. Yeah. Some call it luck, but I call it a blessing. Yeah. He give me peace, ain't no need to be stressing. He never gave up on me. His promises he'll always keep. He paid the price just for me, yeah. Gave him my all, now I'm free. Woke up this morning, I got up and prayed. Thanking the Lord for another good day. I kept it simple, no need to explain. The devil thought he had me, I got away. Yeah. Don't it feel good when you've been in his presence? Yeah. Walking with him ain't no second guessing. Some call it love, but I call it a blessing. He give me peace, ain't no need to be stressing. He never gave up on me. His promises he'll always keep. He paid the price just for me. Gave him my all, now I'm free. Woke up this morning, I got up and prayed. I'm thanking your love for another good day. Simple, no need to explain. Never thought he had me, I got
Blessings on me. Blessings on me. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Blessings on me. Blessings on me. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Everywhere I go, I can feel it. I can feel it. See his blessings all around me in every I know they're never stopping, and I know God is for me. His love is love is love all around me. He gives me more than I need. He makes my life oh so sweet. He makes my heart feel so free. Yeah.
Blessings on me. Blessings on me. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Blessings on me. Blessings on me. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Everywhere I go, I can feel it.
I can see your blessings, and everything I do is like I'm special, yeah. You're the one that I run to when it's ghetto, yeah. I can see your blessings, but you take my life and make it better, yeah. Never giving me more than I can handle, but still providing every one of my needs. And I'm living in your blessings, covered in your holy, no more stressing, yeah. On you I live handings, sticking to your word, so I live in your blessings.
Blessings on me. Blessings on me. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Blessings on me. Blessings on me. Everywhere I go, they'll be. Everywhere I go, I can feel it.
Blessings and blessings and blessings on me. Blessings on me.
Hey.
I can feel.
She said, I can feel. I can feel. I can feel. Just let your soul. Yeah, anyways, y'all. I love both of them songs. Shout out to that. Y'all know Eric gave me that that first song. He gave me that. He put me on that. I heard that song on a playlist recently, and I'm so glad he sent that to me because I was vibing to that on the playlist. I think I repeated it a few times, so we was definitely locked for that. Speaking of Eric Rideout, that's my brother, my friend, my homie. So y'all do me a favor and welcome to the stage at this time the one, the only, Mr. Fly Guy himself, Eric Rideout.
Oh, what's going on?
What's cracking, E?
You can hear me today.
Yeah, I know, right? You here today, y'all? That deserves a tambourine. That deserves a tambourine just to annoy my wife.
Man, I was trying to leave these things alone.
What's that? Oh, no. Did you freak? Oh, there we go.
These chocolate raisins.
Look at that. I ain't seen raisin. I forgot about that candy.
Yeah, my mother bought me these, right? And I'm like, man, I haven't seen, haven't had any of these in forever. Because I'm staying away from a lot of sugary stuff.
Yeah.
Pause. And just to, watch your weight, watch your health, and eat a little bit better. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's well. Glad to be back today. Back. So.
Back in this cold weather. You talking about that chill yesterday, and I felt it today. I stepped outside. I was like, "What the f? Like, what is this?"
Yeah, it's doing that. But you know what? I can't lie. At the same time, I kind of like it. I like fall. I'm a fan of fall.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I'm
a fan of fall because I hate the summer. Like real hot, and that's the thing that everybody says. Well, how are you gonna move to Texas? Or you lived in California. I would never live in California again because it was too hot.
But you know what though? If you go to San Diego though, the
Diego,
temperatures don't get too hot, don't get too cold. It stays pretty even the whole year.
Bay Area is cool.
Yeah, the Bay Area is another one. Yeah, if you get to San Francisco and that Bay, the Bay, everywhere where there's a bay is like all right. San Diego, San Francisco. My mother said San Francisco is the coldest place in the world, though. My mother said, we used to live out there. My mother said, when I was younger, I started school in Oakland. Right. No, in San Francisco. I went to school in San Francisco. We lived across the bay in Oakland, but I went to school in San Francisco. And my mother always said San Francisco is the coldest place in the world. That's where my dad is from, San Francisco. He was born in Louisiana, but raised in the projects of San Francisco.
Man, I see, but I was in Fresno, so it was just hot.
Yeah.
Fresno is considered, they call it the fishbowl because it's the curve.
Yeah.
We're in the bottom of the valley and there's mountains around, so no air. It was like 115, 110 every day. Even at night, it was in the 80s and 90s. So I'm like, man, this is for the But anyway, man, what's the topic today?
Yeah, man. So we're talking about these differences in the generations, of course, and just how every different generation has the different things that impacted them major. So you take, like the silent generation, World War II was their thing, and they were the first ones to see widespread radio. You take the baby boomers, and they were at a time of economic prosperity in America. So, they were a large generation, very large generation, because them soldiers was coming home smashing their wives, but they was on a mission, but they was knocking them up. So we saw great population growth in across the world during their generations, but also it was economic growth and stuff. But by the time we got to Gen X, they were dealing with the fall of the Soviet Union and the Berlin Wall and other things like that. But they were the first ones to see like MTV and all of that, which you would be Gen X. Actually.
I remember that stuff.
Yeah, you fall in Gen
I remember
X.
Some of it I was young for, but I remember it still.
Yeah.
I remember cell phone when they came in pages and stuff. I remember that stuff, man. When the first StarTAC, they used to call them StarTACs from Motorola, or a little flip phone, and them things were $1,500 at the time back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 80s, whatever. I remember people had bag phones in their car, and people thought they was doing something. They had them phones in their car.
I remember my mama had a bag phone and a leather bag. I remember like playing with the thing all the time. Like, boy, you couldn't tell. But I was a little kid at that time. I was a very little kid.
But if you got on it, that price was crazy.
Yeah.
Because back then, texting and calls, you were charged for every call.
Yeah.
And I remember this crazy girl that I don't know how I got dealing with her. She texted me enough where her bill was $450 something from text messages alone, because she was texting that much, and said, "You got to pay for this." Like, I figured out how to. Back then you didn't know about blocking. I just changed my number. So if you're watching, I'm never gonna pay it. You should know that by now. That's been 30 years. Bill still not paid.
You on your own.
You on your own with that one. You shouldn't have texted me. I told you I was trash, and you still text me. But
yeah.
It's
but
the difference.
same.
Yeah, but you said the generational differences. Man, I sit some days in my window. For my niece is 16, 17, no, whatever she is. It's only like that.
Yeah.
I watch these kids in the summer going to school. It's hot outside, and they had on pajama pants and hoodies tied, and the hoodies was tied real tight
up, just full like.
And I'm looking like, but then they have on in the wintertime, like it is now. I'll see, not wintertime, but I've seen them in the snow with shorts on and t-shirts and Crocs in the snow. I'm like, man, I don't. It's a different thing now. These kids like to go shopping. I mean, nothing wrong with a thrift store. They stay in thrift stores.
Mm-hmm.
That's their thing. My niece is like, man, we're gonna go to the mall and get something snacks, but then we're gonna go to the thrift store and go shopping. And to them, it's like, oh my God, But then it's funny to still see certain things in all generations that we all still do, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Different fashions I saw in my parents' day. I saw it in mine. I saw it in this next one. I'm seeing it now. Dances, lingo, what's another thing? Verbiage. The way the way certain slang words are coming back around.
Yeah. I remember like, I used to always say cool beans, which was of course like a Gen X term. And I used to just say it because it was funny. And I used to say dope all the time. I used to say dope, cool beans. And those were words that when I was like in college and stuff, those weren't like popular words to say anymore. You could be like, dope. They'd be like, I use that old word, but now look how it came back around. Everything is dope.
Hairstyles, man, clothes, outfits. Dudes went through the skinny leg, the skinny jean thing forever. But then you turn around now and you see let's go to dress pants. Even some dress pants now are wider leg dress pants.
Yeah, the wide leg came back. Yeah.
And you see the girls wearing the wide legs and wearing the it's just things go in a circle.
Yeah.
But man, them historical moments, I remember that Berlin Wall situation.
Yeah, see, and I have no memory of Berlin Wall. I like just no memory. I was so young.
You know what? I was a kid.
I remember alive.
Only thing I remember is seeing some guys tearing the wall down and then people throwing rocks. Look, man, them people can throw rocks over there. They can get hit and throw rocks, but they was tearing that wall up. I remember being a kid seeing that, and I didn't understand it. I didn't make they tearing the wall up. They bored. I didn't get it. But man, it's to see. I remember when CDs came around.
Yeah, so I remember that. I
remember that, and
I
Napster.
vaguely remember that because it was cassette tapes for a while. But so were you around? Did y'all have 8 tracks when you were like? Was that a thing?
That was going out.
Gotcha.
You know, my uncle, my uncle used to have an 8-track player in his car.
Yeah,
so he still had them big white 8 tracks, and I'm like, I used to, how do you play this thing? He stick it in there. But what's funny, boss? What was funny? A couple of weeks ago, I remember one time. It wasn't recently, but years back, I showed my daughter a rotary phone. I said, "Look at this," and she was sitting there. I said, "How you make a call?" And she was sticking her finger in the hole like this, tapping through it, and she was like, she's scared of it, jumping. I'm like, dial the number. Oh, here's something else. Think about it. They used to call it pound, but it's hashtag.
Yeah, now it's a hashtag. We used to call it a pound sign. Yeah, we used to say pound. Like, so I remember when hashtags first came out, we first started like with Twitter, you know, the whole Twitter, because that was a Twitter thing. And they would say hashtag it. And of course, for my generation, we were like, you know, it was like, what is the hashtag? It's like, oh, it's the pound sign. So we were saying stuff like, you know, now we say like hashtag blessed, for instance, you know, but then it would be like pound blessed is what we were saying. But here's the thing, we don't live long enough to where I was watching something on TikTok a few weeks ago, and he was like, it's 2025. You still trying to use hashtags? And I'm like, I thought hashtags was still a thing. Apparently, no, they just don't do hashtags anymore. It's all about search engine optimization, SEO. It's all about that, keywords, all that kind of stuff. Even what we've been trying to employ for this show, because hashtags just have ceased to really be a thing now. You know, things change.
I saw that somebody has said, and she's right. I remember you remember this, the Columbia CD clubs?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that was the first mess up to my credit. Like I was probably 18. They were on their way out, but I remember I bought all of Yolanda Adams thing. It was like $3 for like 30 CDs. Like,
yeah, but you know what? You got it. But you know something else? If you remember this, I remember back in the day going to like gospel concerts. Like for major artist concerts, tickets were like $10, $15. I remember in Indiana when gas was 97 cents. I was a kid, small, but I remember my dad going to get gas, 93 cents, 87 cents.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
I remember $1 and some change. I remember one time gas was 99 cents on Court Street in Kankakee. I remember filling up a van and it was 99 cents. Like it had dropped, but I mean the normal price was like $1 something for a gallon. You know, and I remember my parents being like, gas so expensive. And you know, in my mind, it's $1.75. Like it. But then I remember when prices topped $2 in California. And we were out there and it was like a national crisis. Gas is $2 a gallon.
When I was in California, it was $5.49 a gallon. But you know what else too? I remember, and that's funny, Ursula. I never paid for mine either. But something else that's funny is I remember McDonald's value meals were $2.99.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That cheeseburger meals was $2.99.
We used to have a daily double special. We used to call it a 211. Like when somebody was making that quick run, they'd be like, "Yo, grab me a 211," and we knew what that meant. It was, you know, the 211. You get a. I remember when they brought the dollar menu out at Wendy's. I mean, that was the 99-cent menu. Actually, was not a dollar menu. McDonald's had the dollar menu, and I was like, "Why McDonald's gonna come in for a penny more for that whack stuff when I can go to Wendy's?" And they had all these things on there. Yeah. You know, like that was survival food at one point in my life.
True. And you know what else too?
$2.
I remember Kentucky Fried Chicken when they changed the look of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I remember the old KFC buckets.
Buckets.
They changed Taco Bell when they changed the design of their building.
I remember that. I do vaguely remember that, but I remember
it's funny, man, to sit back now because some stuff like I was talking to my daughter, I was with her and I was talking about pagers and stuff. She thought that was hilarious. I said, yeah, you had to keep quarters on you because you had to go, you had to stop at the phone and make a call. Yeah. And I said you call a girl out her name, she had to turn the phone upside down to read. People start figuring out how to type.
Yeah.
And she thought that was hilarious.
That don't mean nothing today. You say, like, that girl, she ain't nothing but a 304. Like, that meant something to us.
Yeah, because you turn the phone upside down.
It meant something.
You're calling me or the worst is to get changed or you waiting on that text and you out and you so link up with somebody or people and then you have no change. You trying to drive to the gas station and get change and all that. Yep. But I told my daughter, I remember going to the drive-in and because there's only a few drive-ins. There's one right here in Valpo that I like to go to.
Oh yeah.
But I remember going to the drive-in. You remember when they used to pull up before we could do it the radio? They had them big metal things. You remember those? You go to drive
Not
through, you
really.
stick it in the window and lift the window up. It looked like it was like that big old box with lines. It was a speaker, and you would sit it in your window and it clip on the window, and then you would lift the window up to keep the mosquitoes from coming in. And that speaker would be what you listen to the movie through. Now
I don't remember that.
Now you go to a drive-in and
they play it through a radio frequency,
through the radio.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
you turn to like a certain station and it plays through there.
Yep.
I've only done drive-throughs. I got vague memories. There used to be a drive-through on the east side of Kankakee, just outside of town, that I remember. Like the screen set that for years too, even after they closed down.
It's still one by you. No, not that far. It's one right in Valpo up Calumet Avenue. It's
I
nice
might have to go down there and get a little bit of that nostalgia.
beautiful. You go out there and they got you still walk to the concession stand and get the popcorn and all that stuff. And now they have it set up, where you just sit there. You can watch 2 or 3 movies. You don't have to move. Just the movies just run.
Yeah, just have the whole time and all that. So considering all of that stuff, when we consider all those memories and all that stuff we had, and then how even like I said, me and you technically 2 different generations. Right. You're Gen X, I'm Gen Y or millennial. So but we see how much overlap, and I hope the Lock Stars are seeing this, how much overlap we actually have. Like where you were still young enough that some stuff was, you remember it, but you were young. And it's like, well, I vaguely remember it. I was like super
That's crazy
young.
too, right?
You know what I mean?
You vaguely remember it. I barely got it. I'm like, I remember. So I had to say something. Like, no, I was too, because people say something that was out. I'm like, I don't, but I was too small. But for you, you're even smaller. So while I kind of remember it, you barely don't
remember it at all. Like I only remember the coming down of the Berlin Wall based on what the history books show us and based on the old clips and all that stuff that I see. So I know very much what you're talking about, them throwing the rocks and the guys climbing over. I remember that, but I saw that where it was locked into my memory, from later clips and stuff like that. But you remember it when it was happening. So, that's what I say. Like now that we've got other things that, of course, happened, where we had these impacts. Let me ask you this question from your view, because of course you raised a daughter who I guess Deja will be considered Gen Z, basically, right?
Yeah, she
was born what year? Yeah,
2000.
So she's Gen Z. So like for her, what was that like? Because you're 2 generations removed from your daughter, which is not untypical. That's that's pretty normal. Like, but what was that like? I mean, I know you gave a story about like the rotary phone, for instance, and all that kind of stuff. But what was that like where you found some common ground or something even in that? And then here's the other side too, because I want to just make it, where you have to just think about Deja. The other side with you is you've always done a really good job of having like really young kind of things. I mean, you helped put me on, you know what I mean? Like when it came to things like LXW, BRL, all of that, and it always had a major impact on younger generations, even right to your award show, Touching the Generations Award. Like, you know what I mean? Where you are very keen and noticed how generations change, but we also have a lot in common. You were right there and watched some of that change and saw that. So how have you navigated that space from your perspective?
And it's funny you say that, because I was just thinking about that last night, right? Because even now, I'm gonna go to Deja, but if we're saying the music business, I'm dealing with the legends in music, right?
Yeah.
But then my hand is also in the newcomers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you, and then you got people like Brandon, and then you got people like Group Fire, all these. So for me, man, let me go first to Deja. A common ground place for me and my daughter. Deja has a love for music. But my daughter's love for music is this the weird part. Deja and I love music. That's what we connect on other stuff because, it's her, parent, she talked to me about everything. She always has.
Sure.
Boys, whatever, But because I've made that space open for her where she can call me, like she'll FaceTime me all day. Hey, yo, man, I got a question. And we talk.
Yeah, sure.
Or she'll say, or when she say, Daddy, she wants some money. That's how I know the difference.
That money call, right?
And she tried to talk real sweet and her voice pitch all high. But the music thing, we haven't agreed, because like some of the artists that she like now in rap and stuff, I know who they are, because when you're in music, to stay current and relevant, you listen to everything, you know about everything, right? But then my daughter come back and play something from the 1950s and like, you don't know nothing about this. I don't. And it was before my, I don't. I'm like, how do you even know that? Bobby Womack and all some of these songs she's playing, these 3 black girls, I don't know who they are, these 3 chicks. She be singing this song, and they got on old dresses. You can tell it's from the early 60s or whatever. But that's how we meet.
Wow.
And for me, man, to stay current, you know, outside having a daughter, is I read, I pay attention. And I think sometimes God just gives some of us, because, you know, some people, the older they get, they lose that connection with the next generation.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been there. And maybe even because of what I did with BRL, working with Kiera. She was what? Kiera's in her late teens, early 20s when we started that. Now she's mid 30
right now. Yeah.
35, 36 now. I first met her at 8 years old or 9 years old. But the whole thing was, I was always around that because of the work I did in ministry. I did youth ministry, young adult ministry. So I had to be around them.
Yeah.
And even now in my job, working my regular job at HR, most of the people I'm hiring in are in their 20s, teens and 20s. So I'm around them, hearing the new lingo, what they're saying, what's current, what's lame, what's not, don't say that, don't say this. Because the worst is to be like, if somebody in ministry and you can't relate to people.
Right. Yeah.
Like I told you a quick story about that lady at the youth service. Marcus McFarland was there. He'll tell you. She up talking to a room full of young kids, like teenagers, and she 80-something years old, and she was a host, and which was weird anyway.
That part.
And she's talking and tell all these kids, they was like, y'all ain't shouting enough. If the Commodores was to walk in here, y'all go crazy. I wouldn't go crazy. I'm like, I was a kid. I don't know nothing about our Commodores. These, you know, but that's it. And then, or you have that pastor. It was Youth Sunday. He put on a jacket and gym and blue jeans and church shoes and think he's young looking. No, you're like an old man. So,
hold on one second, E. I turned we turned the music track on for transition to cut your mic out. StreamYard been StreamYarding lately, but that's all right. But no, finish that thought out. Yeah, that was
no. I was just saying that we have to be. You don't have to try to look and act current to be current. It's the mindset of where you are. Think about it. We be with Fred all the time. Fred's 6-7 years old, but Fred is still current enough to his music is touching kids, 9-year-olds at his concert, to grandmas at the concert. Dietrich, you know, you got certain people that stay at that appeal. So I think it's a personality thing and a God-given thing that we can stay relevant.
Yeah, it's like allowing yourself, kind of like allowing yourself to stay open to the different stuff. I tell you what, let's do this. Let me see what some of the comments are saying, and we'll finish that thought out a little bit more when we come back after this next music break, because you dived into something real good that you were saying, you know, and I hope that people really hear this, is really like just remaining open to the possibility that things are so different, but that don't mean we got to be separate from each other. That don't mean we got to break away from each other. So I want to like touch on that a little bit more when we get back. But let me see what some of these comments are saying real quick. Here's Rhonda. She's here saying she's thankful on this Thursday. And my Aunt Regina said, don't go down to your grandparents' basement because it was scary down there. And they had all that old stuff, antique stuff. And talking about my grandparents. Miss Ursula Ellis is here. Good morning to her. She says she remembers the Berlin Wall and the Columbia CD Club. Yeah, the Columbia CD Club was wild. They were bogus for that club, boy. They was taking
that Napster, all of that, man. All of that.
Boy, listen. She said she never paid it either. So there you got it.
Join the club.
Look at this. Mama remembers the speakers. There it is right there. She remembers the speakers. I have no recollection of that.
And see, I was like 5 and 6 going to the movies, like 4 or 5 seeing E.T. I was a small kid, but I remember those speakers.
Yeah. See, I had no memory of it. I just remember turning on radio. By the time, and I got only vague memories of even going to drive-in movies, you know, outside being an adult and going for novelty once, but that was radio by then. Rhonda says you're antique.
See, she wanted my attention. I'm gonna give it to you. Hey, Rhonda, how are you? See,
y'all got a love for each other. There you go.
She wanted my attention. Okay.
And speaking of Rhonda, here's Rhonda's Mama Pastor Cynthia Cohen.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning to the Lock Stars family. So we got to make sure to say what's up to her. Look at that. Even Miss Ursula Ellis said good morning, Mama Cohen, because they know how I feel about the mamas of the show. There it is right there. And Brony Cat says she's Gen X. Yep, you Gen X, born in the late 60s. That's Gen X. Yeah.
You know, it just hit. It ain't funny, but that Kevin Hart thing, what he did to Don Cheadle, I just thought about that. You know what I'm talking about? You remember what he said? He said his age. He
was like, how old are you? He was like, such and such. He was like, damn.
I just thought about
Don Cheadle's mad. He was like, what you mean? Because I did not mean for that to come out like that. I did not mean to say that.
man.
Oh my God. Let's take a music break right here. We'll be right back with more of this conversation. When we get back, we'll talk about how just remaining open until we're just remaining open to different generations, understanding what different generations have been through. And I think this is a good conversation for Eric because like I said, you just always been really, really good at keeping youth and youthfulness alive. While you could have made us like an LXW, you could have wanted us to be like, Hezekiah Walker and the Tommies or whatever. But you let me do what I did. You was like, nigga must be different, and you let me be different. So I think you're a good source of advice. And then maybe we'll dive into some conversation about how that has impact in the church world and all of that kind of stuff as well. So let's do this. We'll take this break. It's one of my favorite songs. Speaking of Eric being current, he put me up on a lot of this music right here. I play it all the time. He more current than I am.
I got some more.
That's what's up, y'all. We'll be right back right after this song.
It's within my nature. Sometimes I live righteously and holy. Why do I have to go astray? Forever want your eyes on me. Mwari inindo funga kuti tatata papi. It's all me, I know. The evidence all around me. You are here, I know. So stay with me. Oh, Papa God, won't you stay with me? Yeah. For my nanny, stay with me. Say you'll be there. Stay with me, Papa. Obstacles will test my faith, inhibiting purpose. I tripped up one too many times. When I fall, Munoti, I'll rise again. It's all me, I know. The evidence all around me. You are near, I know. So stay with me. Oh, Papa God, won't you stay with me? Yeah. For my nanny, stay with me. Say you'll be there. Stay with me, Papa. Oh, don't turn your face away from me. I know this life without you it's lonely. I'm overwhelmed. Please don't turn your face away from me. I know this life without you it's lonely. I'm overwhelmed. Stay with me. Oh, Papa God, won't you stay with me? Yeah. For my nanny, stay with me. Say you'll be there. Stay with me, Baba. So stay with me. Oh, Papa God, won't you stay with me? Yeah. For my nanny, stay with me. Say you'll be there. Stay with me, Baba.
So stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Ah, man, since we're doing the Afro vibes, Eric, I got to give you, speaking of touching the generations, I got to give you this one.
Oh, that's perfect.
Hey, it's not right unless we play this song at least once. It's not right unless we play my jam. All right. I'll bring it back.
That song is terrible, man. It just does something.
I love that song. I really love that song. I love that.
Never hear it again. I don't care.
Look, Brony Cat said, "What y'all not gonna do is about what you said." Hey, you was born in the.
Oh no, Brony Cat. I wasn't meaning to. like that. It just the way you said it. I'm like, me at like 60s, really? Because I thought you were like Zeke tape.
No, brother. She was one of the ones I looked up to. She sang and stuff like that. So, going up to my grandfather's church and stuff, whenever it was like a special service or something like that, she was at another church by then, but whenever there was like a special service or something, she would come around. And you know how you be like at a church, shout out to everybody. Most of them done went on with the Lord now, so I can say this without feeling no repercussion, but they was all old, like in the choir and stuff. So whenever anybody with some youthfulness would come back, and it would be something that was like dope, like, like a bro, I'd be like, oh, look, she can sing, like she got a younger voice, and she, so I used to always look up to her in that sense.
Her vibrato ain't slow, way down.
Yeah, they're like, woo, singing soprano like that, like
that's what you need.
Voices be cracking, singing songs from like 1970, like. And you know what? In my mind, I think about it though, like, if this is the 90s and they still singing songs from the 70s, like remember songs like magnify him, magnify the Lord, magnify him. You remember songs like that? I mean, they was like rock stuff like that. Like, or what was the other one Sister Davis used to sing that I'm trying to think of? You can make it. You can make it.
Learn the Summers or somebody, I think, made that song. I remember that name.
But them songs was like the 60s and the 70s and stuff like that. So in the 90s, this stuff was 20 and 30 years old. But in my mind, I'm gonna let you go real quick. But in my mind, I think about it in today's world. Like, imagine going into the church. And no matter how much they jam it, if somebody busts out with we lift our hands in the same shoe, and we might be like, oh, that's a jam. Or Hosanna by Kirk Franklin. That was the year 2000. Like, so for a kid today, that stuff is like 25, 30 years old. Melodies from Heaven. So your churches, we still singing some of that stuff now. And kids going that old music. Like,
but you know what? Some of that music, if the message is good, it's timeless, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like, let's think about this. If you really think about it, dude, Dance Like David is almost what?
30 years old,
30 plus years old. And like the minute that do say when the Spirit of the Lord, everybody young and old, Michael Jackson was timeless. You know what I mean?
He had
Michael Jackson record. Now you play Off the Wall and it still competes with what out now.
Yeah. Just about everything Motown is timeless, that's for sure. Just about everything Motown is timeless. Like, yeah.
And before y'all say we about to get a music subject, what was you about to say? Because before the break, you said we was going to talk about what was it?
Well, no. Because even talking about the music, that's, because I know that's been your area and your way of doing stuff. But, the world that you've dwelt in and lived in, it's forced your hand. At least I won't say it forced your hand, because there's a lot of music who, again, like I said, everybody gets to the pinnacle of their generation. So you'll have like elders who will be, like I just brought up the song, We Lift Our Hands in the Sanctuary. So there's people that's my generation and a little bit older who say that's what real praise and worship is, but younger generations are like, well, what about like Elevation and Hillsong and all? We be going, that stuff ain't no real music. That ain't no that. But meanwhile, while we was bumping like Kurt Carr and all that, our parents and grandparents was telling us that ain't no real music. Y'all need to play Dr. Cleveland and all that.
They was playing all of that and Mahalia Jackson and all of that stuff for them.
Yeah,
And to me, it's like, but it's a generational thing.
Yeah, it's a generational thing. Like, what made sense to the generation?
Some songs do touch from that generation all the way through. Those are the timeless songs, right? Those are the classics.
Yeah, but that ain't everything, And there was some stuff that was major hits. Like maybe when I was a kid that just don't necessarily get that kind of play no more. So to a younger ear, it's like, okay, that's a classic maybe, or that's a vintage song, and that's old school, like they would call it. And in my head, I'm like, how is I don't know, a random song, like how is I don't know. I remember like one summer when The Boy Is Mine was like the biggest song on the planet. The boy is mine. And the video would come on and we would all be, I don't care if you was a male or a female, you was bumping that jam because the beat was rocking and all that. So in my head, that song is still timeless, it's classic. But to younger kids, they like, I mean, it's a cool song and everything. Like, I get it, but I ain't about like be bumping it going down the street. Like,
what about this? A real young kid, like, who is that?
Yeah.
That's
like
the reality of it sometimes. Like when that's how we was talking to Mika about NSYNC. She's like, who? Like who? You know, who is that? I know Justin Timberlake. Who is it? You know, so it's funny.
Or like
man.
New Kids on the Block, right? I remember when I was a kid, New Kids on the Block. NKOTB, they were like the biggest thing on the planet. And now, like kids today, you'd be hard pressed to find many who even know who New Kids on the Block is. And they were like the hugest thing on the planet.
You know what I don't understand? And then I know we got to jump off this. There are kids in every strong pause. There are kids who don't know, like we said, you can say Brandy to the 20, 13-year-olds, they don't know who that is, right? Some of them may not. But how come they all know who Michael Jackson is?
Because some people just got that magic. They
do you
just
get what I'm saying? Because babies be 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they're like, oh, Michael Jackson. How do you even know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how is he somebody every single generation know?
Yeah, some people, it's like a once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Some people like those once in a lifetime talent.
Some don't know Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
You got some young people that don't. Who? Luther?
Who? No idea who Luther Vandross is.
Online talking about that, man. And she was going playing different songs. And she was like, who is this? They played the Usher song. It's like, he sounds familiar. And someone said, okay, that's Usher. They knew Chris Brown automatically. But then she heard and played a Mint Condition. They're like, who? What's that? I've never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you said, some Monica stuff. Who's Monica?
Yeah.
It was just like, for us, we all knew Sade and Monica and all of them was like, but it's a generation thing because sometimes my daughter play a song like, what the heck is that? Oh, that's Little Light Bulb. I'm like, who the heck is that? But to them, that's current. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah. But you know, I mean, these things are, you know, these are major things. Even when it comes to like movies and stuff. When you think about movies, like, you know, a movie like Uptown Saturday Night, you know, like it was huge back in the day. For me, that was like, what the heck is this? My dad got me sitting up here watching, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but they used to watch. What was the other movie back then? They used to watch The Mac and all of them.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you nothing about none of them.
All of them kind of movies. See, that was before us.
Yeah. But that was huge for like our parents and stuff, like, you know, Shaft and all of that. I remember Will Smith on first time I ever heard of Shaft was when it was an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I think it was Lisa, somebody asked him, he asked him like, so who was your hero? He was like, Shaft. And I was like, who the heck is Shaft? I remember asking my parents, and they was like, you know who Shaft is? I'm like, what is Shaft? Like, what is that?
You know what I mean? That you don't know. They look like you stupid for not knowing who Shaft is. Like, no,
yeah, like, you know. But then when like the Dukes of Hazzard, because everything comes back around. So I remember things like Dukes of Hazzard. Remember Samuel L. Jackson did a Shaft movie back in the early 2000s.
I remember that.
Like,
and the original guy was in there at the end.
Yeah. You know, so to them, to the older generation, like, you know, seeing a Shaft movie in modern day was like a big deal. For us, it was like, oh, here goes a new thing, but it was like an old thing. So when they saw Richard Roundtree come on the screen, they're like, oh, look, there goes that. We like, who is that man? Like, who is this man? Like,
think about this too. When kids hear songs that's been remixed, and they like, oh, that's such and such. And they're like, no, that was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh no, that was such and such.
Yeah. What? Our parents used to do that to us, though. I remember our parents doing that to us, and it'll be like, that dance ain't nothing but the you know, whatever, that song ain't nothing but this. And you'd be like, how? No, it's not. But now what's wild is I done lived long enough until the songs that were still new to me, still fresh to me, I'm watching them sample that stuff now. I mean, you got people like in the gospel world sampling "We're Blessed in the City," like they sampling that.
Sampling is hard too.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, how you gonna sample such a current song? Then I think about it, I'm like, that song is over 30 years old. That is,
you know, something else you just said too. When you come to dancing, I watched some videos the other week because I like to watch the History Channel, the biographies. I like to watch biographies about different people, like Clarence. Clarence, what was it? Avant?
Yeah, Clarence Avant.
So everybody know this dude, and he's just known for just knowing everybody, right? But I looked at some other videos tonight. It was showing some girls and women in the 30s, in the 20s, 40s, black chicks dancing. They was twerking on there, hard. And I'm like, are they doing that now? Those people doing doing every dance we doing now. They doing all of the pop lock. I mean, everything that the kids are doing now that they doing, that's been done. So like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun. I think everything just does this. It's just something is added to it every time.
Yeah.
Christian rap back in the day was like, let's be funny, old school rap. Everybody rapped slow, and it was all,
Here's the time on the beat. What you gonna say? I went down to the hotel room and we just had to play. We said to the hop to the, that's so whack now.
Now keep that. Yeah. But then you turn around, and the next generation, here comes Run DMC doing the same thing, but they add over the same beat, over the same. They just hollering in words in. Then you keep it going. It changes, man. It just does this.
Yeah.
Mumble rap is, because Twister and them came out with the rapping fast. Then, you know what I mean? Then Bone Thugs and Harmony take it and add harmony to it. Then it's just keep going and go. So I think everything is the same thing. It just changes. Every generation adds something to it.
Yeah, it's like you build on. It's like right. And that's, I think you just said something real good right there. It's like a good way to look at it. And maybe that's what we got to do better of, especially like I think in church spaces. I think we got to do better at looking at it as like not something being lost, but just something transforming or just changing. And that's why I say, the energy and the ideas, the fresh perspective that the younger people bring in. I think that's so important. But if the older generations are so willing to throw that away, then the younger generations lose the wisdom that goes alongside, because all they're doing is building on top of what was already there. So they need the wisdom, but the wisdom needs to also, I believe, at least is my opinion, that wisdom needs to come with the understanding that just because it don't look, sound, or feel the way it used to feel, it's still the same thing. It just grew. And it's okay to like what you like. Like, it's okay if all you want to listen to is Dottie Peoples and Andre Crouch and it's okay if that's what you want to do. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. But you don't have to tell somebody who decides, well, I want to listen to Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. You don't have to tell them, well, that ain't real music. But then that person who only wants to listen to Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond needs to remember, though, if somebody only wants to listen to, I don't know, Wande and Lecrae and other stuff like that, that, we don't tell them like, oh, no, because see, music was real when Israel was doing praise and worship. That was real praise and worship.
People say that crazy. But think about this too. Back in the old day, Precious Lord was considered too secular because of the chord structure, right?
Yeah.
Next generation, Oh Happy Day. When we hear that, we laugh like they was like, oh my God, don't play that on the gospel radio. That and the clock says You Brought the Sunshine was too much. Then let's move up. Kurt Franklin came out stumped. The church people like they pulling their hair out, clutching their pearls. Then you go keep going. The further up you get, then you get Mary come out with God in Me or Erica, I Love God. And people like, oh, God ain't knowing. And Lecrae and everybody else, and you just keep going and going and going to, like you said, Wande and Group Fire and all these different people that's out now. Molly Music. Every generation had that one song that they thought was just pushing the line. Yeah. You go back now, listen to stuff, you're like, this was not.
This was not pushing nobody's line.
It was not pushing no boundaries. And one more thing before we change to the next thing. Church musicians and pastors, please stop throwing old stuff. You can, if you're gonna mix the music in, stop throwing old Mary J. Blige beats now in the stuff. People remember they said do. Church thought it was killing when they did that. Music, get away from some of that stuff. If you do some new stuff. I just hate to hear when I hear, listen to people name playing something. I'm like, man, dope is Michael Jackson when they shouting. Now I did hear Gato. It was killing the other night though. Online, they was shouting, and he put one of Michael Jackson songs in there, and that joint was killing. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I would throw Thriller into a shouting beat. I used to do that like back in the day. Actually, like I started playing. I learned them Thriller chords, and we be like, or like Celebrate Good Times.
I remember, you can still do that song, honestly. But you know what's funny? I remember in my church. Now, back to that Celebrate. You ever seen that white guy online who play everything a quarter beat behind?
Yeah, he irritates the hell out of me.
I still like to play all them songs. He do it on purpose. People was mad. Drummers were like, you almost there, just pick it up. But what I was saying was, my church, we had a lot of young musicians at my church. Some of them that's playing, for people, obviously, bro, some everybody. We have young guys at our church, bass player, keyboard players, drummers. We have loops going in my church. We was a coaching church with a drum machine, MPCs going. So other churches wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
I remember the altar calls, and back in the day, in the late 90s, these cats would do, Pastor, we're going to do the altar call. I'll hear the keyboard player going, blah, 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 blah. Mint condition, what kind of man would I be? They grooving it, do on the synth bass, and the pastor, yeah, brothers, bring the anointing here. And they said, mint condition or Brian McKnight, how do I ever cross your mind? Or whatever. And they grooving it, and the church didn't know no better. But man, them was good.
But the thing about that though is that, like I said, man, like it's giving reverence to everybody that's in there, and I think that's really important in today's world because obviously the church. Y'all know I sit up and I study all this church history and all that stuff like that. Right. And the current state of the church right now, like we are losing numbers. So if I was bringing that into a church conversation, we're losing numbers in the church world. And so if you go into most churches today. Most churches now, if y'all going to places like, and I don't mean no knock, no disrespect when I say this, so don't y'all come jumping on me, trying to beat me up in the comments when I say this, but like you go like the Fellowship or Hannah or something like that, ANWA, if they still around. Like you go to these places, I don't think they still around like that. They in New York, but they ain't really, that gang fell off. But because they was like a gang. That's a conversation for another day. But I'm saying though, a lot of those churches, the reason a lot of young people went there because they catered to younger folks, but a lot of them, the Fellowship and Hannah, they do a good job of kind of catering to everybody. I think they do it very well, like catering to all generations, cross generations. But if you go into most churches today, you're going to find an average church age of about 60 years old, which means that more and more what churches cater to is older generations, while oftentimes forgetting the younger generations. I had a conversation with the young people in my church of just very real, raw, honest conversation. And the summation of that conversation was, we feel forgotten. We feel left behind. But at the same time, some churches didn't do a good job of catering to the older generation.
You know what?
So the older generation felt left behind.
A lot of churches do this. They either lean too hard one way, or lean too hard the other way.
Exactly.
And as you said, you got a handful of churches like Hannah's and Sharp, which was Jenkins, that do a good mix of everybody. But either some churches are we got to reach the young people that you're pushing the old ones out. We got to keep the season saints. Church, that was our foundation. And you push this out. If you're a pastor, you got to have if I was a pastor, I would have a good middle ground for everything.
Yeah.
I would have something for the mothers and the fathers, something for the kids, something for everybody. I think do something for them, do something for them, do something for everybody.
Yeah, and that goes beyond just music and preaching styles.
Music.
Because we oftentimes just lean into that with preaching styles and music, just the performance of the show. But
preaching for the old people, music for the kids, and it's like
it's just like the things don't line. But this goes even, I think, into just how churches operate. Like younger generations, there are more things that are more important to them that just weren't important to us. Like I mentioned, for Gen Z, climate change is a big deal for them. So when you hear this from some of them, when they go into churches and it's not being addressed, they're like, well, that's an issue that's near and dear to our heart, but you're not addressing it. You still talking about God gonna make a way, God gonna provide. Well, shoot, I grew up in the suburbs in a 6-bedroom house and I wear Gucci shoes. I'm not worried about God providing. I am worried about the climate though. And y'all not talking about that. But again, catering to different generations or, like things that matter even in what you do, serving food. I mean, younger generations don't necessarily want the fried chicken after the church service. They want something with some quinoa and so, but the older generation's gonna be like, hey, don't serve me that quinoa. You better put some rice and gravy on my plate. Like, so just being mindful at least, you know what I mean? And I think that only comes from having those kinds of conversations where you find out what's important to the people that are directly connected to you. Because that's not a blanket statement. Some older folks love the younger stuff, and some younger folks, like you said, Deja, they love the older stuff. But you got to be willing, I think, at least to have the conversations and make it so that, be intentional, I think, about making sure that everybody from all generations is understood. Understood where they come from, understood what things were important to them at the times that they were coming of age, so that you can address it. And that's a hard thing to do when you're dealing with people who are octogenarians, so they part of the silent generation. And then you got a whole bunch of baby boomers. Then you got a few Gen X in there, the few millennials that stayed, but they now at this point in some churches, they the young people of the church, but we 35 and up at this point. We 30 and up.
We got some from the young adults, and they 41. It's like,
yeah, you know, we 30 and up, like for millennials, you know, and but they the young people. But then, you know, you got Gen Z, and now you got Generation Alpha, who are like 12 and 13 years old now. And so, like, you know, like the oldest of them, 12 and 13, they going into their teenage years. Like, so it's a tough thing to like connect all generations, especially when numbers and help ain't there. But I think it can be achieved by at least having a conversation. Like, you know, not just assuming that young people want to hear Kirk Franklin, because Gen X might not want to hear Kirk Franklin. I'm just being honest. He an old man to them. They don't care. I'm not Gen X, I'm Gen Z. You know,
their Israel and stuff for that generation is Todd Delaney.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that. That's who they look at and say, oh, Todd. To our generation, oh, Yolanda. For them, it's people like Kiara's. That's the princess to that age.
Yeah.
That's their person. You know what I mean? You know, it's like you said, generations. There's a person that, you know, they don't consider that. Oh, that's an old guy. That's an old man. They may like their music, but you know what I mean. They may say, oh, I like Pastor John P. but he may not be somebody that can get to them where they at. You know. Hey, send me such and such. Let such and such talk to me. Send such and such over here. You know what I mean? Send Kalante to talk to us. He's our age. He gets us.
Yeah, yeah.
Send Jacqueline. She's our age. She gets us. You know, but man.
But, you know, it's just a thing that happens. It's life. The world keeps turning. Like I said, the world keeps turning. And so if nothing else, Lock Stars, my hope and my prayer is that you all at least, you know, especially for those of y'all who are in different spaces, whether it be workspaces, some of y'all have reached a point where you're the boss now. You know, you're the person that's doing the hiring and all of that. And young people are going to come in and they're going to look different. They're not coming in a 3-piece suit to do that interview. Like, they going to show up in a sweatsuit. Like, so are you going to be the one that's... Huh?
I do not hire cats in my job. What I mean by that is I have somebody apply. I don't even want to...
oh, Lord, they identified as a cat?
They're a cat. And so it's like, this grown man be trying to purr and want them to rub him on his head and stuff.
Man,
He just at work decided he's a cat now. He's he's from another location. I can say who he is, but he walks around purring and making cat noises. And all of a sudden, I want them to rub his head and
this too much.
Like, get out of here. Wait, all right, I know we got to do a round table because I got my.
That is too much. Being a
my
cat.
niece had one at the school like that. They wanted to wrap up and lay on the kid. He wanted to lay on the carpet and be a cat and do this, and the teacher's doing this. Oh, good boy. You're like, man, get your crazy stuff out of it.
Yeah. Some stuff there might be a line still. Like, it still is a line.
All he needed was a belt. Somebody, his father, take his belt and wear him clean out. All that cat would have left. That cat spirit would have left.
They remind me of Step Brothers when he was talking about wanted to be a dinosaur. He's like, my dad told me, grow up and get a job. You're not gonna be a dinosaur. Get a job.
He's like, get a blanket job. You're not gonna be a dinosaur.
Well, you know, and even in that, look, I just referenced Step Brothers, and that was a major movie for us. We can reference that, but young people have no idea what that movie even is. You know what I mean?
It's a true statement. You know, it's like I said, man, people are crazy. And I'm gonna say this: it's like you want to be a cat. That's fine for you, but don't. And I'm not gonna acknowledge you as a cat. You're not gonna. My sane mind has to go insane to accommodate you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Well, there's a conversation we can pull up one day.
Yeah,
there's a good conversation we can pull up one day. For real. I'll tell you what, let's round table it out. Because, again, like I said, I hope that all your Lock Stars, especially those of mine, you know, just everybody, whatever generation you're in, to understand that, you know, if you're young, then you need the wisdom of the elders. If you're becoming an elder, you know it, like I know it, we all know it. We need the strength of the younger folks. Like, we need them to run. but we need us to give wisdom. And so we have to open up those doors of conversation. And so I hope that we at least got that out of today's episode. I tell you what, E, let me let you do your round table out of here. And then, yeah.
All right, I'm ready. So, hey, man, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope you all got some out of what we're saying. The generations are different, but we got to learn how to work together, right? You can learn from the old ones, and old people, you can learn from the young ones, too. It's not a measure of what you can learn. It's how you learn it and your understanding. Be open, right?
Yeah.
A couple good things coming up. For me, I'm going to be doing something in a few days with some of you all follow him, Be Heard. He's a popular podcaster who's controversial and stuff. So I'm going to get him and I'm going to talk to Zeke about it. And some other people, I can't say who, but it's going to be one night we will come live and talk about the state of the church. And then we're going to do one about young people. But I got people coming on that are relevant to that situation. But other than that, man, God bless all of y'all. God loves you. Enjoy your day. What's today? Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So we got one more day of the week, but enjoy your day today, man. And have a great day until tomorrow. And see you guys later.
Hey, shout out to that. Yeah. Hey, y'all, this has been such a wonderful show. I appreciate y'all so much for locking in with us. What a great episode. Just go back and listen to some of the stuff we're talking about. A lot of nostalgia was in there, a lot of stuff, but hopefully within the conversation, you know, my goal is always that we're able to take something with us. So hopefully within the conversation, what you heard was, the ability to move forward while also being able to look back and respecting both positions, because there is still some good in all of it. We can't throw away young people. We cannot just throw away the old. I'm not saying old people. Come on, I ain't saying that. But I'm saying we can't throw away the things that were old that for us are foundational. We can't throw it away to try to replace it with something. But also, old people or seasoned saints, should I say, the older we get, we can't cut off the younger generations and try to force them to see things the way we see them. They just will not. We have not shared some of the same experiences. We haven't done that with each other. And so, to that effect, my goal is that we at least have the conversation with each other. Rich didn't make it on with us. Y'all know he's on the cruise. So let me just say a quick word of prayer for everybody. Lord, bless each one of these lock stars. Touch them, heal them. Let them see that this, the conversation that we had today, Lord, let it have some impact. And for those who are ill, a lot of people dealing with sinus issues and stuff like that, we're keeping our girl Asia lifted up. We found out some information about her, so I won't say it on the air, but Lord God, you know the situation. I pray that you would touch her and bless her and be the healer in that situation. I'm thanking you for bringing my wife home safely. Now bless everyone to be able to have a great day today, a great rest of the week, that they would be able to be not only impacted by you, but that impact would make them impactful in their spaces. Lord God, bless them in their schools, in their jobs, in their homes, in their relationships, and everything else. In Jesus' name we pray it. As Rich always says, life is choice driven. You live and die by the choices you choose to make. So here's a hint for you: choose life. But like I always say, you're better, you're free, and everything, and I do mean everything, is gonna be all right. I know my prayer went to heaven because Miss Ursula Ellis gave me 2 amens and a emoji. And to the mamas, they said good show, great interesting conversation, great show, great stuff. I appreciate y'all. I guess I don't know if y'all gonna fight for the last comment, but now is the time to go ahead with that. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We will be back tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning. I was going to say 8:30. That is not right. Only unless you on Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back 7:30 Central Time. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be blessed. You're better. You're free. Everything is going to be all right. Reach out to a different generation today. Let them know that you love them. Let them know that you hear them. Let them know that you understand with them, and that you know that we're all in this thing together. We're in this iteration of eternity on earth together, and we can do better. We can do better. Now that we know better, let's do better. I love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Peace out.